Welcome to listening to stories on Kevin TV audiobook channel, Chapter 241, An Absolute Demon. Wait, we're transporting the dragon mediator, Kinryu shouted. He's right. Please sheath your sword. Is that so? The man glared at them, another 4 eyes opening on his face. Thud! A tall, almost 9-foot woman hit his head with a chop. Caden, calm down. I told you I could smell Alcott there. Caden turned back and looked at her. Lily, I can't just let them get close to the city like this. Do you think they will cause trouble? Lily sighed, grabbing Caden's hand and pulling it away from the sword. Lily is right, the little girl said with a smile. Look, colored and shiny lizards are working together. It's a rare thing to see. Caden sighed. You're right, Callie. He sat down and his face shifted back to normal. You can pass, but don't cause any trouble. The dragon stood and flew to the sky, and the carriage started moving. Arad looked at the man as they passed by him, and then at Kinryu. Who was that? Demon Lord Caden, the slayer of gods. Kinryu gasped. The red dragon flew close. That little girl is far more dangerous. You could feel the oppressive demon curses rushing from her body. The tall woman is the blood demon, Lily. The little girl is supposed to be their daughter, but the records of that are strange. Kinryu looked at Arad. Don't fight them if you two ever met again? That man alone could slaughter our armies combined. He alone? Is he a world power? He is one of the strongest. What in the hell is he doing here? Kinryu scratched his head. Probably protecting something based on their words, the red dragon said while walking behind the carriage, turning his head to look back at the demon lord in the distance. What could be in that city for him to protect? Kinryu sighed. But that city is strange, having Alcott, Nina, and a void child living there. He looked at the sky. The land there is a genius loci. Is that what he's protecting? A silver dragon flew down. No, that could be a byproduct of what he's protecting. Kinryu looked at the silver dragon. The genius loci gave me ownership of the land, so Alina is a part of my territory, Arad said. Is there something in my land that I don't know of? Arad looked at the trees passing by, hearing the birds flying away. Do you think it's something dangerous? I don't think so. The world powers rarely cause trouble. They are mostly pacifists. That man wouldn't have shown up if we didn't have 2 armies. Kinryu then stared at Arad with a smile. So we're about to tread on your land. Is that a problem? Now that you mentioned it, dragons usually kill other dragons who enter their land. Arad looked at Kinryu. We're guests, aren't we? The red dragon smiled. Arad, say this. It will give us some power in the future. Arad looked at Kinryu and the red dragon, with Alcott living in Alina and me being a void dragon. How about you see my territory as a neutral location? Kinryu and the red dragon looked at each other. We might talk peacefully like this, he said, but we will kill each other if we met somewhere else. The red dragon growled. Having a neutral place for diplomatic negotiation is a good thing, he smiled. Then it's settled, Arad smiled. The Alina territory is a neutral ground under my ruling. All you need to do is pay a small fee to hold a meeting there. Kinryu laughed. A very young and already thinking of expanding your horde. He looked at Arad. Very well. I don't think Sir Red here would disagree. The red dragon smiled. It will cost less than finding a new location each time. And it will be nice to have the mediator Alcott and the void dragon Arad as a witness for it. I will start working on a meeting place in the mountains. Let's call them the Void Mountains, Arad smiled. Your naming sense is awful. Kinryu sighed. Let's go with the Sacred Void Peaks, Numbeluld. I do have to agree with Goldie on that. The red dragon smiled. But be careful. That doesn't mean the young dragons won't annoy you. Kinryu smiled. Yeah, the same way humans have bandits and outlaws. We dragons also have ruffians who cause trouble. Ginger looked at Arad. Are you sure? Of course, but they have to pay. Arad smiled. I will build a massive castle in the mountains where I can survey all of the lands. The red dragon laughed. You're thinking like a red dragon? We like high peaks so we can look down on our territory. Hehehe. Clog giggled. Arad was pretending to be a red dragon bloodline sorcerer between the humans. It's a win for us. The red dragon looked at her. Really? He then glared at Kirnu. Heard that, Goldie? Hoy, Arad. Kinryu stared at Arad. Red dragons are evil. They cause a lot of trouble and avoid their goddess Tiamat. And Arad looked at Kinryu. They are bad. You can be a gold bloodline instead. We can breathe fire as well. He huffed flames from his lips. And look, crackle. Lightning flashed from the gold dragon's flame. We can use lightning as well, Kinryu smiled. Don't listen to him, Arad. The red dragon approached Arad with a grin. They may use two elements, but in reality, their output is weaker in both. He glared at Kinryu. Their flame can never be as hot as a red dragon, and their lightning will never reach that of a blue dragon. Kinryu snorted, said the one who lost to me 7 times. He glared at the red dragon with a grin. Last time I almost cleaved your tail. You fucker used magic, the red dragon growled. Magic is power. Kinryu smiled. Make sure to learn plenty of it. Magic is for coward. The red dragon stared at Arad. Focus on empowering your draconic powers. How about I do both? Arad looked at them with a smile. Chapter 242, Ancient Power. After the long journey, the dragon's army finally reached the edges of Arad's territory. The ground itself signaled their arrival with a deep growl. The ground started shaking and rumbling as the dirt cracked and the trees danced. I shall clap the mountains on. Had you dare march further? A giant maw and empty eye sockets emerged from the mountains, glaring at them with burning eyes. Losi, it's me, Arad. Don't worry, they are with me. Arad transformed and flew to the sky where Losi could see him. They still had a short distance before they walks on Losi. The mountain returned to normal as Arad landed on the ground. A sunflower emerged with a mouth. A whole army of dragons? Alcott got injured, and they are escorting us, Arad replied, shifting back to his humanoid form. Thud. He could see the ghostly figure of Losi flying around and landing on his shoulder. It's been a while, Arad smiled. I hope everyone is doing well. He looked at her smiling. Thud. The gold dragon Kinryu approached Arad from the back. I see. The land approved of you. That's rare. He smiled. Arad turned his head and glared at Kinryu. I just happened to help her. Now she let me rule over her back. Kinryu nodded. I can see that she isn't that healthy. Her earlier threat was a bluff as well. Kirnu approached Arad. I might not see you, but I know you're floating on his shoulder. He smiled. Losi gasped. Huh, he's kind of creepy, the sunflower said as Losi spoke. I'm only following his line of sight. Kinryu shook his shoulders. Clap. Kinryu clapped his hands. We should probably show respect for the land, letting us walk on its back. Kinryu closed his eyes. You have my gratitude, genius Losi of Alina. All the metallic dragons in the back saw him and did the same. We thank thee. Why? Arad looked at him. We dragons see it as humiliating to have someone walk on our backs. For a genius Losi, who lets people live on its back, brings them water from the depth of the ground, and opens its maw in the face of invading forces, we do give our respect. Kinryu smiled and looked back. Unlike some dragons, he glared at the red dragon general. Land is land. It's made for us to live over, not to respect. The red dragon snorted. I can blow it to ashes with a single breath, Kinryu sighed. That's why we never see eye to eye. He then looked at Arad. What do you say? Void born. Sacred Void Peak, someone agreed to that, so respect the place. Arad glared at the red dragon. The red dragon sighed. Fine, he dove down. Thanks for letting us pass on your back. All the chromatic dragons did the same, and Arad smiled. Let's keep heading toward the city. He then stopped and looked at Kinryu and the red dragon. It's a secret that I'm a dragon. Kinryu nodded. We won't mention that. He then looked at the red dragon. Anything for the sake of neutral meeting ground. The red dragon smiled as he took off to the sky, and they kept flying. After a minute, they could see the city wall with a single woman standing at the fort gate. Nina? Nina stood at the front gate wearing leather armor and leaning on her battle axe. War marks covered her skin as she glared forward at the sky. Ho-ho, Kinryu smiled. That woman is something, The red dragon glared forward. She might not beat me, but she sure could beat an ancient dragon. Arid smiled. You don't have to worry about her. He walked forward. Nina! We're back, he waved his arm. As soon as Arad reached Nina, she smiled. Losi just told us the dragons are with you. We had already evacuated the city in the morning, and people are just coming back. She looked behind Arad, seeing the golden carriage slowly approaching. Alcott is injured, she sighed, and badly, his condition being stable the last days, but he isn't improving at all. Arad looked back as the carriage stopped in front of the gate, and Nina rushed to look at Alcott. Too injured to heal with magic or potions. She sighed. The idiot, I might be able to help. A voice came from the back. As Kinryu and the red dragon turned, they saw a white-haired old man walking with a crooked back and leaning on his steel cane. A beautiful maid walking behind him. Clack! Thud! The red dragon wrapped his claw around the old man, and Kinryu grabbed him by the shoulder. Where do you think you're going, human? The red dragon growled. Even the best draconic doctors failed to wake him up. Your method will only worsen his condition, Kinryu said with a gentle smile. Leave him to us. Kane stopped walking. He lifted his left hand and touched the red dragon claw, glaring at him in the eyes. Care to move your paw away? You little... The dragon growled, but soon went silent, feeling tentacles wrapping around his body. His scales crawled as he could feel a burning sensation beneath them. He could feel Tiamat's rage swelling, saying the wrong words could get him smitten immediately. Fine, he moved his claw away, confused. Kinryu stared at Kane, slowly lifting his hand. Do you know what you're doing? Kane looked at Kinryu. That's a nice beard you have there. He smiled and headed toward Alcott. I see overused his vampiric and lycanthropic, and now they are fighting inside his body and causing his flesh to necrose. Kane looked closer at Alcott. Since those two are concentrated in his blood, the first organ to get his is his heart. It had stopped a day ago, and only the blood from her is keeping him alive. Kinryu looked at Kane with a surprised face. You can tell that. You're no ordinary human. Kane looked at the city, and then at the maid behind him, Jemima, the red lily. The maid bowed, pulled a red flower from her pocket, and handed it to Kane. Kane took the flower, shoved it in Alcott's mouth, and poured some water in, forcing Alcott to swallow it with water magic. What was that flower you fed him? Kinryu asked. And Kane smiled, lifting his cane up. A human body can't take the power he accumulated through the years. So I gave him a special thing that should give his heart the strength to beat again. Kane swung his cane at Alcott's chest, smacking him right above the heart bay dump. Alcott's heart started beating, and he gasped awake. Gah! Alcott couldn't speak or move, but his eyes could move. Hey, you. Kane looked down at Alcott. You're finally awake, Chapter 243. Back to home with dragons. Alcott's eyes looked around, his body paralyzed. Don't bother trying to move. Most of your muscles are torn, relax, and you will be fine a few days later. Kane said with a smile, staring at Alcott's face. Kane then looked at Ginger. Take care of him. Treat him as the dragons. He turned around to leave. Wait, Ginger shouted, calling Kane, and he stopped to look at her. You better start healing him now. Ginger looked at Alcott's face. His eyes started spazzing. Someone gets a healing potion? Kinryu rushed in with a healing potion, and Kane left while they were focused on keeping Alcott alive since he woke him up. The people slowly returned to the city, staring in awe at the dragon-filled sky. It was rare to see a single dragon, let alone thousands, and none of them is trying to cause trouble. Ha! He's stable. Kinryu sighed in relief as Ginger smiled. He's a tough one. He won't be dead just like this. The red dragon smiled, looking around for Kane. Where did that old man go? I can't feel his magic anywhere. Let him be, for such a master of medicines to rest here. 4,000 years of draconic history and mastery can't reach the delicate gem crafted by the short and fragile human life. Kinryu said, combing his beard, and I do have a nice beard. Humans might not reach us in strength, but they indeed do in wisdom. The red dragon sat down. Say, Ignis, shall we have our first meeting today? Kinryu looked at the red dragon with a smile. I doubt there is a suitable place for us to speak, but we shall do it in the mountains. Ignis looked at Arad. Shall you guide us? The guards finally reached their posts at the front gate. Seeing Arad, Nina, Ginger, and Alcott, a strange woman carrying a baby, a long-bearded old man, and a massive red dragon. The city lord rushed in on his horse, stopping at the gate. Nina, what's going on? Nina looked back. You're finally back. Come here for a second. She waved her hand at him. Alcott was heavily injured in his last mission, so the dragons escorted him back here. Nina briefly explained what happened to the city lord. The city lord stared at them, confused. What could he do with 2 armies of dragons? He thought of suggesting a feast, but how could he feed such beings? We're going with Sir Arad now, Kinryu said with a smile. Excuse us, but we can't keep the armies away from our lands for a long time. Clap. He put his hands together. Mediator, please get well soon. Mediator, please get well soon. All the dragons roared, shaking the city to the core as their voice boomed like thunder. The city lord could feel his lungs vibrate under his chest. You're going with Arad? The city lord looked at them. That's right, Kinryu replied with a smile. He would be the host of our meetings from now on. Wait here in Alina? He gasped with a sweaty face. Such a thing can't be done without informing the king. Do you have a problem with that? Ignis stared at the city lord, drawing his nose closer and snorting. It's not like you own the land, and even if you do, what prevents us from taking it? What? He gasped. I can kill you and take the land, but I can't do the same to Arad. The land itself approved of him, so he has the last say. Ignis growled. Oi! Arad growled, glaring at Ignis. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that. Ignis stared at Arad with a confused face. Make sure humans around here know who's the boss, otherwise you will have trouble in the future. I speak from experience, Arad sighed. Fine, he looked at the city lord. Leave this to me. You take the guards and escort Alcott back to his home. Eden Ovnate. Puff. Kinryu exploded in a puff of smoke, transforming into his draconic form and carrying Arad in his claw. Clog carried Tina and her daughter and flew toward Arad's house. She knew the direction for some reason. The city lord, Nina, and everyone else watched in awe as the dragon's armies retreated to the mountain range. Bam! Clog landed beside Arad's garden with Kinryu carefully finding a way to step on the ground without breaking it. The other dragons remained flying as there wasn't much space for them to land. Aella and Mira rushed out of the house. Arad, you're finally back. Aella raced forward. Mira stopped in the garden, lifting her head up and looking at the dragons. Lucy was right. There are a lot of them, and they are big. She then looked at Arad. Are they your friends? Kinryu scratched his whiskers. You could say that, but we're here since he's a neutral magic dragon. Clog looked at Aella. Arad will be hosting diplomatic conferences between the metallic and chromatic dragons as a neutral power. Aella looked at Arad. Is that right? Where could we even do that? I always wanted to build a castle in the mountains. Arad smiled. This is my chance, and they will pay us after all. Kinryu smiled, puff. He shifted back to his humanoid form. I will be the first one to invest in our neutral ground. He pushed his hand into his baggy coat, pulling a small leather bag. Take this, it's for you. Kinryu handed the bag to Arad. Arad looked into the bag, seeing nothing but darkness. What's inside? I can't see it. It's a storage bag pointed to an empty space and thing of emptying the content. Kinryu smiled. Arad did what Kinryu said, and a golden flash emerged from the bag's small mouth. Crack! Mira jumped back, and Ayla's eyes opened wide. "What is this?" they gasped. "A small part of my hoard." Arad could see a small mound, half the size of his house, of gold and gems. "I'm a gold dragon, after all. I collect gold. That's a few thousand gold coins worth. Feel free to use them to build our meeting hall." Kinryu smiled. "I didn't really count them. I just picked a small scope before I left." "Hoy, bastard," Ignis growled. "Your kind won't have the sole hand in building the hall." Chapter 244, A Short Life. Ignis pulled an equal amount of gold to Kinryu, but his smelled of sulfur and pumice. He laired on the peak of an active volcano, and those smells couldn't be separated from him or his hoard. "It will take hours to count all of this," Arad sighed. He then looked at Kinryu and Ignis. "Can we agree that metallic and chromatic have gifted the same amount to avoid further conflict?" "I can always give you more," Kinryu said with a smile. "Hoy, Kinryu," he said. "Enough is enough. Don't try breaking the balance," Ignis growled. In reality, he didn't want to spend more money from his hoard, and having Kinryu raise the price would force him to pull more. Dragons are stingy, and Red are the most conservative about spending their money. But that didn't mean they don't understand the concept of investing. A neutral negotiation ground could give them a strategic advantage in the future, and he won't skimp to secure a win. Burdnovir, our Ignis's mind, started counting the events and strategies they could take, like asking for a peace treaty while losing to buy time and using the negotiation time to learn of the metallic dragon's secret powers and weapons. "So, shall we start the first meeting now?" Arad looked at the two dragons, and they nodded. "Let's head to the mountains. Mr. Red here is too fat to fit in your house." Ignis snorted at the bad joke by the gold dragon. "You gold is always hard-headed." Arad extended his wings from his back and flew to the sky. "Ayla, Mira, count the gold while we're out." The three flew away, and Clog stared down at Tina, her daughter, Ayla, and Mira. "He's always busy," Clog said with a grin. Ayla sighed and looked at Tina. "So, care to tell me what a slave and her baby are doing with you?" She could tell, since she is technically a slave as well. She was gifted to Arad by a slaver after saving them, and I'm sure they wanted to have a connection to a dragon. Clog replied, and Tina approached Ayla. "Sorry about that. I didn't have a say in the matter." Myra walked toward them. "You don't have to worry. You were enslaved in Rita, right?" Tina nodded. "Yes, albeit I was being transferred to the city when the Arods saved us. I heard bad rumors about the place. Slaves aren't treated that well there." Myra approached Tina and looked at Saren. "What cute little baby, is she a girl?" "Yes, her name is Saren," Tina replied with a smile. "I don't think Arad will," Ayla was about to speak, but then stopped. She was about to say that Arad could let her go, but didn't want to give the woman false hope if Arad had something else in mind. "Where are you from?" "I'm from Alceria's western coast. My husband died when the bandit attacked our carriage when we were moving." She looked at the sky. "My parents should still be living there, but I don't think I could return to them anytime soon. We were moving toward here since we heard the news of a potential war between the dwarves and humans. My parents didn't want to leave, but we had to move since we don't want her to grow up in a devastated land." She looked at Saren in her hands. Ayla smiled. "At least you can rest here for the time being. I don't have unless Arad is around, so can you help us with the cleaning first?" Ayla pointed at the mountains of gold. "Cleaning, you say?" Tina giggled. "That's counting money." She walked toward a nearby bench and put Saren on it. "Stay calm till Mama is back." She then went to help Ayla and Mira. Saren remained silent on the bench, staring at the blue sky until a small bug-like woman flew into her field of view. "You're alone, aren't you?" Losi said with a smile. Ella, Mira, and Tina heard Saren laughing and giggling on her own, waving her tiny hands across the air. Clog looked at them and smiled. "Arad has grown bigger than the last time I saw him."
"What do you mean?"
"Yeah, he's a very young dragon now," Ella replied. "I didn't mean that. I'm talking about his status as a dragon. She looked around, living like a human among humankind, and even so holding a great power between dragons. It's so amusing how he's living a life of dreams. I won't say he has any power over dragons. Aella giggled, scratching her cheek. To me, it seemed they chose him instead. It's sad to say, but Alcott won't live as long as a dragon. To them, it's important to find a replacement. Clog looked at the sky and then at Mira. Human life to us dragons is but a short thing, like a bird's life to yours. Mira smiled, looking at the gold. Clog was right. Her life would only be a month in Arad's life. To him, she's like a month, passing in the blink of an eye to him. Aella might last a bit longer, but even she would only live a fragment of Arad's life. The world of humans is beautiful and forever changing and evolving. Clog looked at them. Get stronger. That will prolong your time with Arad, and you won't be left behind when he flies to the sky. Aella looked at Clog. She was right. Keeping up with a dragon is anything but easy, and Arad was a special case after that. He's a void dragon with immense power and growth rate. Aella looked at her palm, sensing the magic flowing in her veins. She can call on her power, but can't gather the courage to try something new. As Mira was counting the money, she stopped, glaring at the sky with a strange face. Wait. Arad said that he will build a castle in the mountains. She looked at Clog. Yes, Clog replied. Mira sighed. I better start working on the furniture now. She smiled, hitting her fists together. I will put the royal palace to shame, chapter 245, A Divine Hand. Ha, finally. Aella sighed, falling on her back with her arms spread apart and staring at the sky as she felt a slight burn in her eyes. 13,746 gold coins in total. Mira looked at Aella, and that without counting the jewels. That's 137 platinum coin. And you have 46 gold coins left. Clog smiled, looking at Aella. I doubt it will be enough to make a magnificent castle, but it's a start. We would start by building a road to the mountain base and then a long staircase leading to the top where the castle would be. Mira smiled. Arad can transport the materials in his stomach. We should be able to get a foundation ready with this amount of money. Aella looked at Mira. You're amazing, already thinking of how to build the castle. She smiled. I doubt Bob will accept the job. Mira scratched her chin. You're right, we need to find someone willing to take long-term work, but those people are usually busy building forts and castles for nobles and lords. Arad is getting a noble title. Could we use that to get the castle going? Aella looked at Mira with a smile. She stood up and cracked her back. Lord Arad's first castle, a magnificent fort on a snowy peak on a monster-infested land. Who's the brave daring to tread the stone stairs to his front door? Aella waved her palm and looked at Clog. How does it sound? Sounds like a trial of 7,000 steps. I feel sorry for the one building them more than walking them. Clog smiled, and her opal fangs glowed under the sunlight. Zon. Arad emerged from thin air, leaving a faint trail of dark mist after him that disappeared in the blink of an eye. He stared at Clog with a magical purple glow in his eyes. We finished the meeting, he smiled. Really, this quickly? Clog smiled, getting her head close to him. Those two old geezers have left? No, they are still around the mountain peak. You can still feel the dragons around. Arad looked at the sky. Ignis said that even if the majority of the chromatic dragons followed the orders of staying away from my land, there would still be hot-blooded young ones who dare attack for glory, and you can kill them. That's normal. I bet Ignis even allowed you to hunt chromatic dragons who annoy you. To us, it's the strong that eats the weak. Clog giggled, but Kinryu had another thing to say, right? Yeah, unlike chromatic dragons, metallic dragons are good-natured, and killing is something frowned upon by them. Meaning I would have to have proof of wrongdoing deserving of death before killing one of their kind. That's true. Clog approached Arad. You can see it as humans' law. You can't just kill anyone you meet unless they are a proven criminal, like bandits. Ella approached Arad. So the mission is over, right? She looked at his face with a smile, excited to hear they finished an S-rank quest. Yeah, about that. Arad scratched his head. The quest was to get the Marquis's daughters, and they seemed to have fled the city before we even arrived. So the quest failed. Mira sighed, looking at Ayala as her ears dropped. You didn't finish the S-rank quest? No, the quest failed. Our job was to get the twins, and we didn't. It's a simply failed objective. Arad sighed. But since we knew why ran away in the first place, we should probably report that they were killed in the mess. You intend to lie to the Marquis? Ayala looked at Arad with a sad face. I know you wanted me to finish an S-rank quest, but we couldn't do it. The twins played us well. Arad scratched his head. I bet that noble wouldn't like that we failed either. Clog nodded, knowing that ugly pig he will be both enraged that you didn't find them and relieved that he doesn't have to deal with them having stabbed another noble's eye. We need to wait for Alcott to be able to move before we can report back. So I have some time to think of a solution. Arad sighed. It isn't really a problem, Mira approached Arad. As you said, it's simple. No twins failed the quest. That's it. You're right, Arad smiled, patting her head. Master, Tina approached Arad. This is the first time I got to speak to you like this. I'm pleased to work under you. She bowed, her hair flying forward. Yeah, we didn't really have any time to speak to each other in the carriage. Arad had spent most of his time with Kinryu and Ignis, and Tina didn't find it possible to speak to him with thousands of dragons watching. Tina looked at Clog, it's only one, and she's as green as a lizard that I can ignore her. She had gotten used to Clog and won't get scared by her presence. Noville need. Hoy, Clog glared at Tina. I could sense you wanted to say something disrespectful, didn't you? Tina giggled and looked at Arad and then at Saren. She also seems to have calmed down, thanks to you. Arad approached Saren. She was sleeping in her small bag, waving her tiny hands the air and laughing. Or, that is what everyone besides Arad saw. He saw Losi in her fairy form flying around Saren and making funny faces, and Saren was trying to catch her. Clog looked at Arad and noticed that his eyes and Saren's eyes are looking at the same spot in the air. Her draconic brain quickly drew the conclusion. Arad, what are you two looking at? Clog asked. The genius Loki, named Lochi. She is in her fairy form and floating around Saren, Arad replied, pointing with his finger at the empty space around Saren. A Loki? Tina tilted her head. Arad lifted Saren and started spinning with her as she laughed. Don't worry, I won't be keeping you tied here as a slave. Arad looked at Tina as he played with Saren. When things calm down, I will find a way to send you back home, Arad declared with a smile. Saren giggled, a faint golden light burning in her eyes. For some reason, Lydia's words came back to Arad. Holy magic isn't a power owned by mortals, but one granted to them by the gods to pursue a good goal. That is why clerics and paladins are heavily religious. Their power is granted to them by the gods. Clog gasped, swinging her claw at Saren as fast as she could, sensing a surge in her holy magic. A blonde angel sighed in the heavens. Did you really need to do that? She glared back at the oak-tanned muscular man sitting on the golden throne behind her. Another white-haired angel looked back with a grin on her face. That girl doesn't have a fate anywhere else. Her father died protecting her and his wife. A true man. How I could not hold his last wish true, the man replied, lifting his palm and swinging it down. Clap. Chapter 246. Back from the dead, a gust of power flashed from the god's hand, trailing from one angel to another, sparking like lightning between the generations till it reached the last one of them. It jumped from them to the blood left in mortals, and soon reached Saren's veins. Her sorceress blood boiled with holy magic. Arad saw Saren's eyes flashing golden, and the yellow flame expanded to her tiny right palm. It wasn't a threat. He didn't feel any bloodlust or malice. It was but a child singing her palm, but with the power of a god behind it. A holy smite was coming down. Being a sorcerer isn't fun, and no one questions why most of them are orphans. burning their houses down as toddlers or electrocuting their parents in a hug. Those accidents were common and the starting point of the life of many sorcerers who tried to seek control over their powers. For Saren, that accident should have been her healing someone or blessing them with good luck and fortune. But sadly, the one taking the burn of the first hit was a vampire. Arad saw Lydia's image flashing before his eyes, explaining how much damage a smite can cause. Ba-dump time slowed for Arad as he saw Clog's claw racing toward Saren. Ah, shit, I need to dodge. No, Clog would kill Saren if I did that. His brain started throbbing. I will pull Saren to me with gravity magic and try to catch her by the torso. I should be fine as long as I don't touch her palm. Gravity magic Arad lifted his arms and pulled Saren toward him. Swash. Clog's claw flew above her body, bringing a violent gust of air that spun Serena around. Arad tried to catch Saren by the torso, but the spin caused her to slip between his hands, and her palm touched his chest. Voom! Arad felt a violent vibration coursing across his body, cracking his bones and tearing his muscles. A searing sensation covered his skin as he felt as if being struck with heavy gravity magic, crushing his body toward the ground. Clap. The smite exploded on Arad's chest, flattening him on the ground with enough force to leave a mark. Boom! Arad's body burned in the black flame of the void, transforming back into his draconic form. Gaha! He gasped for air as Saren fell on his chest. Confused. Gagagai. Arad growled, staring at the sky and feeling the holy magic burning across his body. The remnant divine magic sparked inside his eyes. That hurt. Arad. Everyone screamed, half blinded by the sudden brilliant flash of holiness. Arad turned his head toward Clog. You tried to kill her? No, I was about to put my claw between you and her. Her holy magic won't harm me that much. Clog was trying to take the hit for Arad, and considering that she was a normal dragon, she would have only felt a tiny tickle. Saren, Master Arad. Tina rushed toward him, unable to decide between getting worried about her daughter or apologizing. Take care of Saren. My scales are hard, Arad pointed at his chest, but Saren seemed fine. Are you okay? Clog looked at Arad. It's impressive that you survived that, even if it was weak. That was a weak one. Arad sighed. She knocked me out of my humanoid form. I had 320 HP. Ella and Mira tried to help Arad get back on his leg, but he wasn't a sheep to be flipped. He's too heavy for them to help. Arad pushed onto the ground with his wings and turned over, shaking his head and neck like a dog. His head was still ringing, and he could feel some holy magic coursing across his veins, slowly burning him. What's the deal with Smite? Did I do anything to anger the baby's god? Arad stretched like a cat and then stared at Saren. Say, are you angry about something? Master Arad, I'm really sorry for what she did. Tina bowed, but Arad shook his head. She's still a child. Let's be glad she hit me and no one else would have died. Clog stared at him, smiling. You're the only one who would get hurt by that. She smiled. If Ayla or even Mira were hit, the worst case is they will be healed from any injury they had. Clog expanded her wings. Are you leaving? Arad looked at her. I can't leave my lair for long. There are many people seeking my hoard. Clog flapped her wings, flying into the sky. See you later. Arad looked at her, flying away. She left. He sighed and looked toward the road leading to the city. I should go check on Alcott. How about you rest first? Ella approached Arad. Yeah, Alcott would need some rest first. You can go see him tomorrow and take some food with you. Mira smiled, and Arad looked at his body. You're right. I do need some rest before I can transform back to my humanoid form. He turned around and walked toward the door, realizing he was too big to fit in. I will sleep in the garden. He crawled into a ball like a cat, hugging his tail as he fell asleep. New? Arg! Mira, do we have something to cover him with? Ayala asked, and Mira pulled Tina with her to help. Ayala approached Arad, patting his head. Rest. You must be exhausted. She smiled and could still see some traces of holy magic sparking between his scales. Thud! A genius Losi is ahead. I can't proceed further. A headless skeleton growled, holding his skull in his hand. He looked at the sun approaching the west. My son, you tried to give me my revenge, but I failed you. The skeleton growled. Now that I had this priest's body, I shall take revenge on the one responsible for your death. Bam Shavian stomped the ground on top of a hill just outside Losi's back, and armies of undead rose behind him. We attack at midnight, kill that dragon, and then make sure Alcott never wakes up again. I will devour the city and raise it as an undead nation. He giggled. Alcott, your actions always bring misfortune. You're a bane to those close to you, old wolf. Chapter 247, Rogue's Crusade. The sun slid behind the mountains, and Jack stared at Lydia sleeping. Arad returned. We should visit him tomorrow. He carried the crystal ball resting at the bedside table and put it on Lydia's forehead. HP 198384, MP 288 through 8, SP 169288, still not fully healed. I guess a few more days before you're up and running, Jack sighed, looking at the ball. Name, Jack Bertha, race, human, class, rogue, level 14, 20s, expren 65,000 subclass, trapper thief. Stats, strength 12, agility 19, constitution 12, magic 6, intelligence 18, wisdom 16, HP 182 MP, 84 SP 231. Skills, Thives, Can't, a secret language, a mix of pronunciation, whistles, body language, and pitches that allows you to mix encrypted messages into the day-to-day conversation. It can also be used to encrypt writing. Muscle memory, due to intensive training and repetition, you can perform actions without thinking, like walking to a place or creating a small contraption. Fast reflexes were honed after rigorous training. Your body reacts on its own to attacks and moves out of the way, as long as it's fast enough. Vertical work. Since you run a lot, you have gained the ability to climb, slid, and jump through obstacles with ease. Thief's eyes. You have the ability to determine where people are looking and stay out of their cone of vision. Imposter. You can mimic someone else's speech, writing, and behaviors. The effectiveness of this skill relies on how much you know the target. Echolocation. You have the ability to determine your surrounding by sound. Dagger art. The skill of using daggers, knives in combat. Nice, I did master it enough to get a skill. He smiled, seeing the echolocation skill. His time with Alcott wasn't wasted. With this, he will feel more comfortable planting traps in the dark. Lydia opened her eyes, a golden flame glowing in them. She sat and looked at the window with a stern face. I can smell it, the stench of the dead, she growled, looking around for her sword. You're awake. What are you talking about? Jack looked at Lydia's face. They are coming. I can sense them in the air. Lydia tried to stand, but Jack pushed her back to bed. You rest. I will go see what's going on and get back to you. Jack smiled. Fine, Lydia sighed, but I will charge if I sense them getting close to the city. She glared at the window. There must be a high-rank undead between them if I can sense the stench from here. Which direction are they coming from? They already reached Arad's house. I can sense them around there. Jack smiled. Divine sense, was it? It calls paladins to crusade against great evil. Tell God it's a rogue taking the crusade today. Jack ran to the window and jumped out, bouncing off the thin line used to hang clothes and reaching the roof of the next building. Bam, 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 bam. Jack ran on the tile roofs, glaring forward. I don't think I can take on a lich alone. My best bet is to do the best I can to stop the smaller undead. He whistled after about a minute. Several thieves appeared, running beside Jack. What's it? Doing a call at such a time, one of the thieves growled, undead attacking the city from the east. Trap their way and make sure they never reach the walls, Jack replied, glaring at them. You can't steal if the people died, can you? You're right. But are you sure there are undead? One of the thieves gasped, glaring at him. It's the word of a paladin. You can be sure 9 times out of 10. It's true. Jack stared back at them and then looked forward. I see it's that Lydia's girl. You sly bastard, the thief giggled. Leave it to us. We need people to keep making money so we can steal it. Bam, the thieves spread across the city. Do your best and steal from your families if you must. Jack shouted, jumping from the last building before the wall. Thud, he landed in the middle of the guard barracks. He took a deep breath. Wake the fuck up. Undead are outside the wall. He shouted at the top of his lungs, smiling as he pulled a steel wire from his pocket. Zip. Jack threw the wire at the wall and climbed as fast as he could, quickly reaching the top before the guards could get out. He stared at the city outskirts, smiling. If they are coming from Arad's house, that, considering he didn't blast them, they will come from this direction as it's easy to traverse. He looked at the middle road, or from the forest if they have a smart leader. Jack scratched his head. I'm not a tactical leader, but I can guess where they could approach from, and it's time to put my traps to use. Jack jumped from the wall, falling a hay bale and quickly emerging out. Awa! I'm all scratched up. He shook his hands, running toward the first spot where he could put his traps. I don't have that many explosives left. I better use them to topple down trees and have them roll downhill to kill as many undead as possible. Jack started setting his traps one after the other. Crack. Jack stopped moving his hands, remaining frozen in place. He could feel the heavy pressure falling on his back. Something immense and powerful stared at him. Nate, note. Stray dog, do you want to fight? A deep growl came from behind him. Jack was barely able to breathe, but he recognized the voice. I heard this voice before. You're that tiefling from the crazy village. Buying time to think of a way to run away. A smart one, indeed, the voice said in a stern tone. Here, it's a memento from an old friend of mine. It's nothing big, but may it brings you a fortune. Swash ting, a small Subalus wakizashi pierced the ground beside Jack's legs. Jack looked at the wakizashi. It had a glowing sun mark on its hilt. Its owner was a rogue as well, going by the name Daraku. It looks like a magic item. I don't have enough time to attune to it, and I can't use magic either. Jack looked at the wakizashi, disappointed. Do your best, Zon. The voice disappeared, and the pressure lifted from Jack's chest. Chapter 248, Undead Invasion. Arad opened his eyes, as did Ayla sleeping beside him. Something is coming, she gasped, staring at the ceiling. Thud, Arad jumped from the bed and rushed to the window. Get ready for a fight and release everyone. He jumped from the window. Arad looked at the sky, seeing a large purple crystal falling from the stars. Bam! The crystal fell in the middle of the garden. It's twice as tall as Arad. It started pulsating with waves of necrotic magic, with purple-like veins spreading from it. Arad opened his mouth. Roar! He unleashed a large fire breath, trying to burn it. The flames splashed around the crystal, deflecting like a water stream. Crack. Bam. The crystal cracked, exploding in a burst of magic. The skeletal hand extended from it, creating a magical glass-like shield. Dragon of Alcott, I came for your soul. Shavian growled, glaring at Arad with a green flame blazing in his skull. You're that weird corpse Alcott fought? Arad looked at Shavian. How did you get here? He smiled. Losi should have warned him. We fired ourselves with magic to land where we needed, Shavian said with a smile, and Arad stared at the sky. Hundreds and hundreds of crystals fell like rain, crashing into the forest and around the city. Star rain, an amazing magic indeed, Shavian giggled, glaring at Arad. It's used to deliver supplies in war, but it can also deliver undead. Bam! Arad lunged forward, swinging a fist at Shavian's skull. Crack! His fist hit the magical barrier. You can't break my shield with such weak force. Even Alcott found it hard. Pew! Crack! An arrow blasted through the window, ripping the frame off and hitting Shavian's shield with a blast. Shavian slowly turned his head, seeing the arrow tip had pierced his shield and remained suspended in it. He! A large amount of force focused on a single small point. A piercing weapon has a better chance than this dragon's bludgeoning fists. In O Regu and Ba Bam, the crystals falling all around Alina exploded, releasing hordes of undead everywhere. The more of you that dies, the more power I gain. Tonight I will erase you and this city whole." Xavier floated into the sky and pulled a staff out of his pocket, storage magic. Arad could notice a drawing on the bag similar to what Merlin had between her chest. Arad's brain quickly made a conclusion. Either Merlin lied about it needing to be close to the heart for magic and just put it between her breasts for fun, or Xavier's magic source is close to his bag. Arad pointed his arm at Xavier. His fingers burst into flames as crimson orbs of flames rushed forth. Fire bolt, fire bolt, fire bolt, fire bolt, fire bolt, fire bolt, fire bolt. Xvin didn't bother to move. His barrier easily deflected Arad's low-level spells. Such weak magic. Xavier pointed his staff at Arad. "It's useless. You won't break my barrier in a million years." Arad's flames turned blue and then white as he pushed the refinement further. "Ho-ho! You can refine it, but it's still useless." Xavier lifted his staff and flew around Arad, pointing at him. Die. Necrotic blast pointing at him. A purple flame expanded from Xavier's staff, engulfing Arad's body. Zon. Arad used Void Step. He appeared behind Xavier with a lightning drop kick. Bam! The kick hit Xavier's shield, but didn't break it. Xavier turned around, swinging his staff at Arad. Arad disappeared again before he could get hit. Pew, ding. An arrow bounced off Xavier's barrier, and he looked out the window. "Elf, I can see you," Xavier giggled. "I only needed to change the shape of my barrier a bit to deflect your arrows." Crack! Aela turned around, seeing several skeletons inside the house. "Where did they get in?" She pointed her bow at them and fired. The arrows slid right between their bones, blasting holes in the walls at the back. "Ah!" Aela heard Tina screaming from the other room. "The house is already infested." "I'm coming." She grabbed a chair on her way to smash the skeletons with. They aren't strong, but are hard to hurt with arrows. Bam. Aela kicked the door open to see a strange scene. Most of the skeletons inside had their skulls and arms shattered, and the majority are nailed to the walls. Crackle. A skeleton jumped at Mira, swinging his rusted sword. Mira lifted her left arm, taking the hit on the shoulder. She wasn't a fighter. She didn't know how to dodge or deflect attack, only how to protect her head. The moment the attack connected to Mira's arm, she swung the hammer in her right hand down, cracking the skeleton's forearm to pieces. As he recoiled, she pulled a nail from her pocket and swung her hammer at its spine. Bam! Mira hammered the skeleton to the wall, pinning him with a nail. "I may not know how to fight, but I know how to get a nail into something." Aela rushed to them. "Are you okay?" Saren is still in the other room alone. Tina cried, and they could hear Saren starting to scream on the other side of the house. Aela took a deep breath. "Everyone attack," she screamed at the top of her lungs with Arad roaring outside. Boom, the cellar door shattered as hordes of goblins rushed out, growling. Giant ants start crawling out of the garden and the forest. "It's an all-out war in the other room," Saren cried as a faint light emitted from her body. The skeletons around her started burning, but it wasn't enough to kill them. One of them approached the little baby on flames. He lifted his sword, swinging down at her. Crack! Bam! The wall exploded with Arad rushing in, grabbing Saren in his arm and bursting across the second wall. Boom! Xavier rushed after him, trying to blast him with beams of purple necrotic flame. "Die, Sidzail." Arad could feel his skin burning just by touching Saren. She was releasing holy magic to protect herself from the undead, but he was a vampire and is getting burned in the same way. It was then that he got an idea. Thud. He stopped running in the middle of the garden, using Saren's wrapping to tie her around his stomach. He stood, glaring at his palm burning in holy flames, his scales falling off and getting healed with the blood had stored before. Arad made a fist, engulfed in blood and holy flames. "I'm gonna try punching that bastard with this," Chapter 249. Stalling for time. "Today you will die. That accursed Alcott shall follow you soon," Xavier growled, eldritch flames bursting between his bones. No one will die, Arad growled, strapping Saren to his stomach and glaring at Shavian. You won't get anywhere close to the city. And you think strapping a helpless child to your body will help you beat me? Such an ignorant hatchling daring to face the power of the dead. Shavian pointed his staff at Arad. I might be young, but this city has more terrifying monsters than me. He clenched his and lifted it above his shoulder. Cling, the adamantine sword, appeared in Arad's hand, engulfed with the same holy flame burning Arad. Arad took a deep breath, pulling the sword back as scales emerged on his cheek. Clack! His wings expanded in the blink of an eye. Zon Arad disappeared and appeared behind Shavian, swinging the sword down Bam. Shavian flew away and swung his staff, pointing at Arad. Earth pillars crack. Arad saw a stone spike rushing from the ground, headed directly toward Saren on his stomach. Thud! He jumped back, evading the attack. Another spike rose from the ground, rushing at his back. There was another one flap. Arad flapped his wings and took to the sky with a blast. GWLA Saren started crying, and he stared at her. Did the acceleration hurt you? He gasped, but that didn't seem the case. She was sensing something that he couldn't. Arad glared back at Shavian. What are you doing? Trying to kill you. Shavian lifted his hand, and 10 stones spikes flew from the ground to orbit him. You better be ready to be raised as a Dracolich under me. The stone spikes ignited with an eldritch flame and flew at Arad at unbelievable speed. Zon, Zon, Zon. Arad dodged the spikes by teleporting away as he kept an eye on Shavian. Roar! The moment he got in range, he unleashed a void breath, attempting to drop the lich to the ground. Avian lifted his palm and released a blast of magic, negating Arad's breath with ease. Is this all you have? But it took him a second to realize Arad had disappeared again. Bam! Exavian felt his skull cracking as a hint of holy magic seeped into him, his body racing toward the ground as he looked up, seeing Arad glaring down at him with Saren still crying. He used the breath to distract me, but that doesn't matter. Shavian glared at the clouds. A grin would have shown on his face if he has lips. Thud, thud, thud! Merlin ran out of her tower as fast as she could, her hair still as messy as a bush. She grabbed the nearest broom she had and flew outside, flying high enough to get a top-down view of the city. She closed her eyes, sensing the magic around the city. Nero, Nero, Nero. Her eyes bulged open and she glared at the sky. No way, she growled, sensing a massive ball of magic accumulating above the city. I only read about it in books. How the hell is someone actually pulling it off? She opened her palm and created a small ball of magic arcane eye. She then flung it above the clouds to get a better look at the sky. What she saw was terrifying. A massive boulder of pure magic, engulfed in necrotic flames, was forming. It will soon fall on the city. Meteor fall, and a necrotic one at that, she gasped, looking around the city, panicking. Where is the caster? Where is the caster? We must kill him. She flew across the city sky as fast as she could, tracking the magic. But the army of the undead muffled all tracks. Rug, 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 rug. Merlin stopped, hearing a familiar roar from the city wall. She's on the hunt, she smiled, seeing Nina standing on the wall with her battle axe in hand, glaring down at several death knights. 127 death knights. They emit the most necrotic magic. Is the caster one of them? Merlin couldn't tell the source of the magic when the air dripped with necrotic mana. It was like asking someone looking at the sea to guess which spot was the slatiest. Nina glared down at the death knights, veins bulging on her arm as her skin became as red as the blood flowing in her body. Her eyes shifted to a ruby color, and her hair stood like that of an angry animal. Chirqua! Nina growled and jumped out of the wall with her axe in hand. The first death knight took a stance, lifting his sword as a green flame burned in his eyes. His jet-black plate armor crackled on his rotten bones as he swung the massive sword in his hand to the side. Clang! The Death Knight's sword hit Nina in the face. Bending as she got deflected to the side, he glared at his bent sword. Like hitting a boulder, I can't cut into her flesh. He looked to the side, seeing Nina's foot racing toward his skull. Crack! The Death Knight flew toward the city wall, crashing into it with extreme force. "Be careful!" Merlin screamed as she saw the wall crack. "If the wall fell, the undead will swarm the city." But her words fell on deaf ears. Nina was raging, and she only knew one thing. Bam! The other 6 Death Knights lunged, swinging their weapons with necrotic flames. Clang, clang, clang! Nina swung her axe, deflecting all of their attacks before cleaving one in half with a single swing. The Death Knights jumped away, pointing their hands at Nina. Hellfire Orb, each of the remaining 5, released a massive blaze of a crimson inferno. Nina jumped into the sky and glared down at them. The one at the wall has already regenerated and is joining them again. We must stall for time till Lord Javian brings his judgment down. One of the Death Knights smiled inside. They weren't trying to kill Nina, they knew they didn't have enough power for such a thing. Chapter 250 Reinforcements. Clang! Arad swung his sword, and Shavian deflected it with his staff. Necrotic wave, a shock wave of necrotic magic burst from the Lich's palm, threatening to render the flesh into rot. Zon, Arad teleported behind Shavian and drop-kicked him to the ground. Crack! Shavian landed on his legs, quickly glaring at the sky. Arad flew down with a fiery kick, forcing the Lich to jump back. Boom! The moment Arad's foot touched the ground, it exploded in a rose of crimson flames. He looked at his stomach, and Saren was fine, thanks to his void and wings protecting her. I need to finish this quickly. Arad glared at Shavian. Olcott almost died to defeat him before. Why can I fight him? He started feeling weird. I can't get this strange feeling from my head. Swash! Arad lunged forward, swinging his sword. Clang, clang! Javian deflected the 2 strikes, opening his jaw. Sonic blast, Arad gasped. He could hear Shavian's pitch quickly rising, and he won't be able to protect Saren from it. Crackle! A lighting bolt flashed across the forest, and a devil carrying 2 gold-engraved blades rushed between Arad and Shavian, pointing his swords forward. Thunder clapped as Abel swung at Shavian's mouth, and the 2 sound waves canceled each other. A devil? Exvin gasped, and Abel swung a sword at his neck. Clap! A lightning bolt exploded as the Lich flew back. Thud! A woman carrying a really long sword landed behind Shavian. Action surge, water flow dance, Shavian rapidly turned, swinging his staff. Clang! 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 He deflected 2 strikes, but the 3rd hit him in the chest and sent him flying back. Thud! When he landed, Merida had already landed behind him. Clang! Clang! She hit him twice, sending him rolling. She's far more skilled than those 2. A pure fighter. I don't have enough magic to accelerate fast enough to beat her techniques. Gavian was a mage, not a fighter. His martial skills weren't better than the average man's, but he used acceleration magic and his fast cognitive undead mind to outpace most people. But now he didn't have full access to that, and is barely able to keep up with a physical fight. Crack! Merida landed beside Javian, kicking him in the skull as hard as she could, and sent him toward Arad. Arad took a deep breath. This could hurt. He glanced at Serena and pulled his fist back. Vroing! Arad smiled, firmly sticking his foot on the ground. I know, you can't be the only one feeling the burn of it. He clenched a fist, engulfed in void and holy magic. Arad twisted his body, vroom, using all of his might and infusing his fist with all the magic he got. Strike, the city's whole life depends on it. Smite, Arad shouted, punching Javian in the chest and cracking his ribs. Agrian's body flew back, his bones all cracked with a golden light. Thud! But he landed on his feet, glaring at Arad with glowing eyes, even though Arad's fist carried some holy magic from Saren. It wasn't enough to harm Shavian. This is your end. Shavian pointed his staff at Arad, charging a large spell. Clang. Jack stood beside him and swung his dagger down, knocking the staff from Shavian's hand.
What?
The Lich gasped, glaring at Jack. This bastard, where did he come from? Crackle, thud. Abel and Merida charged forward, kicking Shavian in unison and sending him back. Arad put Seren on the ground to remain safe. He already guessed that Shavian is on his last leg. Bam! He lunged forward, using the blood to heal. Merida, Abel, Jack, and Arad charged at the cracked lich. Their only chance was now they need to crush his bones to dust. Back in the city, the guards rushed across the street, killing the skeleton and zombies that managed to get into the city. Clear them out. Send the injured to the church before they transform. We don't need another disaster. The head guard shouted, but from the side of his eyes he spotted a dead knight at the end of the street. Damn it, the man shouted, swinging his arm. All the elite guards, follow me to battle. I spotted a death knight. He rushed forward, and 10 knights followed him. Crack. When they reached the turn, they saw no death knight, but only found a white-haired old man facing the wall, emptying his bladder. Old Man Kane, is that you? The head knight recognized him. Kane was known as the best herbalist in the city. Kane turned his head to look at them. Can you turn a blind eye to this? I'm old and can't wait till I get home. Forget that. We're glad you're safe. We will carry you to safety, so relax. The head knight sighed. Captain, where is the Death Knight? One of the knights asked. Kane looked around. Death Knight? No, I didn't see any one of you dead. The knight sighed. No, it's undead, a large and armored zombie or skeleton. Kane shook his head. I didn't see anything like that. But I can't see well, so I might be wrong. The knights sighed in relief. They much rathered it being a false alarm than a real one. 2 of the knights carried Kane while the rest protected them as they rushed toward the city keep. In the shadow of the back streets, Jamimia, Kane's maid, stood there, staring at them from the darkness. Master drew their attention. It's all good. She looked back, lifting a thumbs up. Why did he even call me? A tall, muscular woman with coal-black hair and glowing red eyes growled, flame gushing from her nose as she burned a Death Knight corpse. Even you couldn't dub this, the woman looked back, and there were several Death Knights crushed to the ground. He already destroyed them. Jemima bowed to the woman. Sorry, Lady Zalaria. I asked him to not call you to kill the undead, since you are pretty loud. Zalaria scratched her head. I know. It's the rules. We can't draw a lot of attention. I will burn the corpses, but you dispose of the ashes. Merlin looked at the sky. Damn it, she cried, Chapter 251. The Bone Zone Arad ran toward Shavian, swinging his fist. The moment it was close to his skull, the lich lifted his palm and deflected it. Clang! Jack slipped in from the back, swinging his palm. Zip! A steel wire wrapped around Shavian's wrist, pulling him away. Come here, Bones! Jack smiled and swung the wakizashi at the lich's head. You're a mere human with no magic, Shavian growled, opening his jaw and biting Jack's blade. Sizzle! A faint hint of holy magic started seeping from the blade and burned the lich's teeth. What? A holy weapon. Axivine jumped away and pulled a small wand from his wrist. I need to move away from them. The spell is about to be completed. He flew away. Crackle! Abel flew after him, flapping his devil wings with thunderous lightning. Fall down! He swung his swords and Shavian was forced to block with his arms. Sizzle! Abel smiled, his holy magic starting to burn Axivine. There was one reason why Arad put Seren down. He didn't need to be the one delivering holy magic since Abel is here. Vroom! He flew to the sky, swinging his sword at the falling Shavin. Clang! Abel managed to hit the lich's head while Arad hit the torso. Arad, let's bring him to the ground. Air wasn't the best place to fight with weapons after all. To use swords and melee weapons effectively, you need to have support from the ground. And that isn't possible while flying. I know. Arad shouted, spinning and pointing his hand at the ground. Gravity magic. He created a cylindrical zone of gravity magic beneath Shavian, pulling him to the ground at rapid speed. Bam! As the lich smacked into the ground, Jack and Murdia ganged up on him, taking hits and looking for his phylactery, a small object that he uses as a core to hide his soul. Shavian tried to retreat, but Arad fell on his skull with a drop kick. Abel followed soon with a lightning-fast slash. I'm dying once again. This is the third time. Shavian growled inside, Arad punching him from the left, Abel stabbing him from the back at Merida, trying to cleave his head while Jack tied him in place with wires, looking for the weak point. Shavian lifted his wand, aiming at Merida, but before he could blast her, Arad punched him in the face. Abel quickly followed with a lightning bolt, and Merida slashed again. They are faster than me. I need to find an opening and get away. Axivian jumped back, but he got kicked back down. They aren't even letting me move, not a single opening that I can exploit. What a bad situation I'm in. I won't last long like this. But he started giggling inside, his eyes looking at the clouds. This is death. He could feel his spell finish, and the burden on his mind lifted up. In the blink of an eye, Shavian stood still, necrotic magic building up from his bones. Jack noticed that Shavian's behavior changed, and he got alerted. Something big is coming. He opened his fingers and pulled on the strings he was using to tie Shavian down, and tied Arad and the rest with them. You better get away. I feel like he's about to explode. Jack smiled as Arad Merida, and Abel got pulled away from Shavian, leaving him alone. Crack. Shavian opened his jaw, an eldritch green flame burning inside his throat from a purple crystal. The bone zone, he laughed at full power again. As green necrotic flames consumed Shavian, massive bones spiked from the ground. Mortal today, you welcome death, the lich glared at Jack, mocking his flesh. Let's see who's the best. Jack smiled, pulling all the explosives he had stored and throwing them at Shavian. Boom! A fiery explosion covered the place as bones spiked from everywhere. Arad, Abel, and Merida screamed, seeing Jack getting consumed in the chaos. Shavian was unharmed by the explosives. His magic had returned to normal, and he could deflect such things with ease. He looked forward, seeing a pool of blood and Jack's arm on the ground with a small glass bottle to the side. He died, I see. Even potions couldn't save his life. Shavian sighed, looking toward Arad, ready to finish him next. Thud! Shavian felt an arm hug his skull from the back, twisting his neck as a knife got pushed between his teeth. You're the dead one. I saw it when you regained your power, Jack said, cracking the phylactery that Shavian kept on the back of his throat. Nov nacked! Crack! The phylactery cracked and Shavian's necrotic magic exploded, sending Jack flying toward Arad's house. Bam! He hit the wall, cracking it. Swash! Shavian wasn't dead yet, and he flew toward Arad as fast as he could. Alcott is dead, and all I need to make sure you're dead as well. He swung his wand toward Arad faster than anyone could react. Arad lifted his arms at the last moment, but a fiery explosion blasted him away, sending his body flying toward Alina at an incredible speed. Shavian didn't wait and flew away, leaving Abel and Merida in the dust. The meteor is falling down. I need to get away. That stupid rogue destroyed my phylactery. If my body got destroyed now, I'm done for. He didn't want to rest now that he lost his safety net. As Nina was chasing the Death Knights around, crack, Arad broke through the trees and flew at a blinding speed, digging a trench as he stopped on the ground, barely breathing. His eyes stared at the sky, seeing a massive boulder falling down. Did we lose? He mumbled, but then spotted a woman standing below the meteor with her white hair crackling with magic. Merlin took a deep breath, lifting her staff up. She didn't lift a finger to fight this entire time, only so she can focus all of her mind on stopping the meteor. Grabra, grabla, grabla, grabra, grabla, grabla, grab, gragra, 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 grabla, grab, grabra.
Reverse gravity. She started pushing back on the meteor with her magic, trying to stop it midair. Blush. She could feel her arms and muscles crack as she started bleeding from every orifice. I have the magic to stop it, but my body can't take the pressure without breaking.
Humans are weak, and their bodies cannot handle massive spells without intensive preparation. Merlin didn't have enough times to prepare for lifting a whole meteor, Chapter 252, Star-born, Ru-o-o, Ake-ake-ar. A loud crackling roar filled the sky, shaking the city's walls. The ground started rumbling as the mountains seemed to dance. A dark, misty haze covered Arad's body as he shifted back into his draconic form, roaring as his void consumed the ground around him. Binu, or in a faraway land. Move, you lazy bitch. A slave swung his cane, hitting a woman in the face, but she didn't even flinch and stared at the sky. The slave stepped back, his face red with rage. The woman lifted her palm with a passive face. Can't you just eat it? That's a tiny celestial body. Crack. The stars realigned behind the falling meteor into a massive eye, and a titanic dark claw formed approaching the celestial body. It then stopped, feeling Arad flying toward the meteor. That's right, this is your territory. I shouldn't interfere. The claw disappeared as the eye closed. Flap! Arad flapped his wings faster than the eye could see. He flew toward the meteor, roaring. Swash! Merlin gasped, seeing him surpass her and hit the meteor head first. Arad! Merlin shouted. She doesn't have enough power to pull him out, but soon she realized something. Arad started clawing at the falling meteor, with his body covered in a black void. With each claw strike, Arad directly consumed a chunk of the meteor in his stomach, digging his way into the meteor's core. Necrotic magic kept eating his flesh over the void, but he didn't stop regenerating from the blood he had stored. Merlin could feel the meteor getting lighter and lighter. Arad was eating it whole from the inside out. This spell had a single weakness, which was a strong point. The stone wasn't made of magic. It was only a massive boulder. The spell worked by gathering stone in the upper atmosphere and then dropping it. That means the stone would fall even if the spell was interrupted, but it meant Arad could still ravage it like regular stone, ignoring the necrotic magic. The more Arad ate of the meteor, the lighter and easier it became for Merlin to lift. And the more she lifted it, the more time she bought for Arad to eat it. Inside the meteor core, Arad opened his jaw. Roar, he roared, unleashing a void breath. Bam! Merlin could see a dark beam punching a hole in the meteor, followed by another one and another. The air pressure quickly got inside the meteor from the holes, forcing it to rip apart and explode into multiple small pieces. The people in the city saw the burning fragments fall down, and they screamed, running into their houses to avoid being hit. Merlin looked down. She already felt dizzy, and didn't have enough magic or stamina to create a barrier. Zon. The small fragments stopped mid-air, staying suspended as everyone looked out of their windows. It's Nina's dragon, one of the nobles shouted, and his word spread across the city. Arad flew above the city. Gravity magic, he used it to make himself the center of gravity, and the falling shards flew back up to orbit him. Arad's eyes fixated on a single thing, Shavian flying away in the distance. Flap. He flapped his wings, flying forward with the meteor fragments spinning around his body. The moment flew past any large horde of undead, he dropped some on them, blasting them to pieces. Shavian looked back, seeing Arad flying toward him with what remained from the meteor. For fuck's sake, those dragons never ceased to cause trouble. To think he was able to weaken the meteor's structure enough for it to self-destruct. Shavian pointed his staff back. 1,000-bone spear. Thousands of large spiky bones emerged from the ground. Arad released the meteors orbiting him, blasting the bones to dust as he flew right through. It doesn't matter. You won't catch me with that speed. Shavian smiled, looking forward as he flew away. Void stepped Zon. Arad appeared in front of Shavian, opening his claws. Crack! He grabbed him by the shoulders, roaring. You bastard! You could teleport all the way here. Shavian growled, swinging his open palm up. Thud! Using his fingers, he pierced Arad's lower jaw. It still doesn't matter. Idiot. You don't have the strength or durability to face me at my best. It's over. I will scoop your brain out. Shavian growled, Void steps on. Void steps on. Arad teleported with Shavian back to the city walls, dropping to the ground. Shavian looked around, stunned. Crack! He pulled his hand from Arad's jaw and kicked him away. This bastard. He dragged me all the way here. He was a bit confused. Arad lay on the ground, motionless. With exhaustion and blood loss, he can't even regenerate. It was over for him. He isn't getting back up, and Shavian knew it. Crack! As the Lich tried to run away, he heard something falling behind him. He turned around to see a brown-haired woman staring at him, with white mist coming out of her mouth as she growled. You! Shavian gasped, his voice cracking. Thud! Nina grabbed Shavian by the sky with her bare hand. His necrotic magic couldn't eat her flesh. The Bone Zone. Skull-Eater Shavian cast 2 spells, but the bone spikes cracked the moment they touched Nina, and the skull's teeth shattered. Grabor. Nina screamed her lungs out, swinging Shavian from left to right, smacking him on the ground. I know it. Even if the meteor dropped, you would be the only survivor. A barbarian with extreme durability, regeneration, and absurd strength. Bam. Nina threw Shavian's bones toward the front gate where a woman walked out with bandages all over her body. Lydia took a deep breath. In the name of the great Earth Mother, her merciful son, and his graceful foster mother of the Crimson Sun. Boom. Her sword exploded with holy magic. Crack, she stomped the ground, swinging her sword with zeal, divine cleaver. A brilliant flash of holy light emerged as she hit Shavian. Clap. Chapter 253, Aftermath Damage. Lydia's sword passed right through Shavian's body, disintegrating his bones into white ash that burned in a golden flame. The moment he perished, the other undead started burning, the holy fire of God burning them. Nina calmed down. The veins on her body shrank as she took a deep breath. She turned around and rushed toward Arad. Are you still alive? She asked, not mentioning his name as she knew that would be bad. Arad wasn't moving. The wound on his lower jaw looked deep. Nina slowly opened it to look inside, and she could see a hole in Arad's upper jaw. This is bad. It might have damaged his brain. Nina looked around. Lydia, can you heal him? Lydia supported her body on her sword. I'm coming, but don't expect much. Bam! Nina jumped, covering the 100 meters plus distance in a single leap. I will carry you. She grabbed Lydia and lunged back to Arad. Lydia put her hand on Arad's head and closed her eyes. I can't heal him. He's filled with vampiric magic. She looked inside his mouth. She could see some gray mush, but it's bad. They got his brain. Lydia and Nina looked at each other. You should carry him to his house. Nina nodded. I will do that. You speak to the guard and have them deal with the cleaning. Nina grabbed Arad by the neck, lifting him above her shoulder. Lydia gasped. I told her to carry him, but I didn't think she would do that literally. Nina walked toward the forest, marching into the trees. After a few steps, she stopped, veins bulging on her head. Monsters! She glared forward. The forest oozed with giant ants, dark, dire wolves, goblins, apes, and owl-apes. Crack. A titanic ant queen approached Nina, glaring at her, and Arad. Nina clenched her fist, ready to blast the bug to oblivion. Ara! Lord Arad! The ant gasped, glaring at Arad and running around Nina in circles. I smell blood. This isn't good. The undead held us for too long. Thud stopped and glared at Nina. Who did this? Who are you? Nina growled. The ant queen went silent for a second. Thwack! She smacked Nina in the face with one of her legs, sending her flying into the forest, crushing several trees. I'm the one asking the question, human. Are you the one who hurt him? Ants can carry several times their weight. Their strength is unmatched, and that trait is carried by the ant queen. Crack. Nina stood glaring at the ant queen. You bug? She growled, and the queen could feel a throbbing mane in her front leg. She looked at it. Did she cracks my exoskeleton? The ant queen looked at Arad. Take him away, rapidly. Garosha, Garisha, excuse us, excuse us. They rushed. Arad, before the two could start fighting. Aella rushed in. Wait, where is he? She looked around. Mundlo. Lady Ella, please leave, the ant queen growled. A monster is lurking around. Aella looked around, seeing Nina there, about to rage. She panicked. Stop, stop, she rushed at them. Don't fight. The two looked at her. She's the ant queen and works for Arad. And this is Nina, our friend. Aella cried. Aella looked between the confused two. Muscle brains facing each other. I hope they don't start fighting. Nina relaxed. In that case, Arad is heavily injured, and we need to treat him. Aella blinked. Arad would be fine. Jack, on the other hand, she glared at Nina. He's dying. Bam. Nina grabbed Aella and jumped toward Arad's house, landing at the door. She could see Mira and Tina tying Jack's wounds. Abel was trying to heal him, but he failed over and over, while Merida rushed around the house, cutting clothes off for Tina to use. He's barely breathing, Mira growled. It's useless. We can't stop the bleeding, Tina cried. Bam! Nina rushed forward, grabbing Jack, and her body turned red. Bam! She jumped into the sky at full force. Bam! Nina landed at the city gate and jumped forward, headed toward the person who healed Alcott. Bam! She kicked Kane's door open. Old man, are you here? Kane was sitting on his desk, drinking. Can you heal him? It's no use. Kane stared at her. It isn't just his wounds. Necrosis is eating him from the inside. He won't live long. But you can heal him. Nina growled. Kane smiled. I can buy him time. He stood and approached her. He then pulled a potion from his pocket and handed it to her. Go give this to Arad. I will take care of Jack. Nina put Jack on the ground, grabbed the potion, and rushed away. Kane sighed. What poor child. Jemima walked out of the back room looking at Jack. She finished him off with that irresponsible jump. Kane looked at Jack. But I can still do a thing or two. He smiled. Take him to the maze. It's been a while since I moved my fingers. Jack opened his eyes, staring at a wooden ceiling. He could feel a throbbing pain coming from his left arm, right leg, and stomach. Jack tried to stand, but felt a burning sensation rushing up from his stomach, and a yellow stream flew out of his mouth as he gasped at the bedside. Easy, easy, boy. Don't move, Kane said, standing beside the window. Jack glared at him, his vision blurry. Who? I said to take it easy. Jemima, give him some water. Kane looked back with a smile as Jemima helped Jack wash his face. After several minutes, Jack finally calmed down, and he looked at his body. His left arm looked strange from the forearm down, as if it was made of steel and wood, crackling with each finger move. He could feel a hard lump in his stomach, and even his right foot crackled like his arm. Your left arm got crushed on above the elbow. You lost parts of your stomach, liver, and left kidney. On top of all of that, a blood clot caused your right leg to die, so I had to sever it off. Kane approached Jack. Jack looked at his left arm. And what is this? Kane smiled. You pull it like this. He twisted the arm. Crackle. His wrist twisted down, revealing 4 cylindrical barrels. You either need to find the elixir of life, get a chosen paladin to heal you, or gain vampirism or lycanthropy within a year if you want to remain alive. Those new toys will make the task a bit easier. Kane smiled. Chapter 254. It goes kaboom. Crackle. Crackle. Jack moved his fingers, feeling a sharp pain above his elbows. It hurt to move. Of course it does. The connection to your nerves is still fresh. Kane smiled, handing Jack a small potion. It needs to heal slowly, so take this to quell the pain. The potion wasn't in a fat bottle like they used to. This one was in a cylindrical glass tube with steel needles at the tip, about 5 of them. Jack looked at the potion. Do I drink? How do I open it? Kane took the potion from Jack's hand. You don't drink it. You inject it like this. He pushed it into Jack's arm. and the pain started fading. How did you make these? Jack looked at his new forearm, stunned. How do they move? Will take a lot to explain. Let's say they are enchanted to work. Kane smiled, helping Jack to stand. Try to walk slowly. Those limbs should be adjusted on their own. Kane looked at Jack's right leg as it changed in length, fitting his height. They almost weigh nothing. Jack smiled, tapping his leg on the ground. They change to weigh as much as your original limbs, but don't stress them too much at the start. You could harm yourself. Kane helped Jack walk toward the door and downstairs. They are working. I can walk with them. Jack looked at the leg with a smile. I pre-made you a 4-barrel gun and a grappling hook into your arm, sprung knee into your leg, and I exchanged the damaged part of your liver and left kidney for magic stones. Kane opened the front door and led Jack to the garden. Come on, give it a try. Kane handed Jack a small pouch. Fill this with hooks, steel or iron balls, and your explosive powder, and it will recharge your arm on its own. Also, don't forget to oil your joints. Kane flicked his finger, and Jemima rushed in with a wooden target. Come, take aim. Jack silently extended his arm forward, looking at the target. How do I use it? Just think about it. It should respond to your will. Kane smiled. Jack took a deep breath, and his wrist joint opened. Danging his palm, boom. A fireball emerged from one of the barrels with a thunderous boom, shaking the house and scaring the birds. Crack! A large hole was blown in the target as the steel ball flew and rested in one of the back trees. Jack glared at his arm. It went kaboom. Yes, Jack Kaboom? Kane smiled. You can choose how much to fire, all 4 at the same time, or one by one. You know, well, come. Jack smiled. How about the hook? Is it the same? Jack pointed at the target and closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. Clack! His wrist closed and opened rapidly, and the hook was ready to fire. Boom! With another explosion, a 4-sided hook flew forward and grabbed the target, leaving a long rope behind. I didn't install a pulling system since the arm could rip itself from you. Get stronger and I will have them installed for you. Kane smiled. Now try jumping. Jack took a deep breath, squatting on one leg. Clack. His artificial leg extended, propelling him 5 meters into the sky. Land on it. Kane waved his hand. Thud. Jack landed back on the same leg. Just don't forget to oil it. Jack looked at Kane with a smile. You said something about magic stones. Yeah, the magic stone in your liver will work to detox most poisons. It simply gives you poison resistance. The one linked to your stomach will allow you to digest food faster and more efficiently. And lastly, the one on your left kidney will give you an adrenaline rush once a day. Kane threw a crystal ball at Jack. Look, those are your new skills. Name Jack Bertha Race Human Class, Rogue Level 1520 XP 1650,000. Subclass, Trapper Thief, Stat Strength 12, Agility 20, Constitution 12, Magic 6, Intelligence 18, Wisdom 16, HP 125, 19 Fifth MP 90, SP 255. Skills, Thieves Can't, Muscle Memory, Fast Reflex, Vertical Work, Thief's Eyes, Imposter Echolocation, Dagger Art Abilities, Artificial Left Arm Quad Shotgun, Ammo 15/16, Artificial Arm Left Grappling Hook Ammo 3/4, Artificial Right Leg, Long Jump, Artificial Liver, Detoxification, Artificial Kidney, Adrenaline Rush, Charges, 1 Artificial Stomach, Iron Stomach. Jack looked at Kane with a smile. Where are Arad and Aella? They must see this. It then came to him, no, wait. What happened in the fight? The Lich perished, and the city is saved. Kane smiled. Arad is on the other side of the garden, training. Jack rushed and looked over the wall, seeing Arad swinging a sword down. Alcott sitting in a wheelchair in the back, giving him instructions. Swing slowly. I want you to know each tiny move. Don't try and mask the imperfections with your speed. Alcott looked at Arad swinging the sword. Arad! Jack shouted, jumping over the wall and landing in front of him. How are you doing? And Sir Alcott, are you all right? Alcott laughed. I'm fine. I damaged my back, and I shouldn't move for a while. Arad smiled. For me, I'm mostly fine. Jack looked at Arad. Something seems strange about you. You look a bit thinner. Arad looked at Alcott. A dragon's brain extends from the skull to the tip of its tail. They don't have a spinal cord. Arad got his frontal cortex smashed. His recovery has been draining, Alcott explained. Wait, no way, you didn't have any lasting damage. Jack looked at Arad, worried. You're in a worse shape than me, Arad smiled. No, this thing goes kaboom, and I like it. How are you? Jack touched Arad's arm. He wasn't as muscular as before. My void eyes are always active now, and I can't remain in my human for if I got damaged below 50% health. I also lost a fair bit of weight. Arad giggled. It might look bad, but those would get cured when he enters the next age stage. Alcott smiled. He would get a neat ability from that. Jack looked at Arad. Like what? Immunity to beheading, but we have to wait till he age and see. Alcott looked at the sky. For now, I will teach him how to fight. Chapter 255, Void Forms. Arad lifted his sword and looked forward. I can't keep taking hits now. Swash. He swung the blade down. I have to learn how to fight. The dark mist radiated from Arad's skin, hissing as the plants around him slowly disintegrated. I got 3 skills when fighting Connor, the big bad evil guy of the mission. Arad took a deep breath as his blade turned black with the void. Dragon Claw. Zan. Swinging down, he left a black trail akin to the night sky. Void Dragon Claw. This skill covers my sword with my stomach void, so anything I cut gets sucked in. Ho ho! Jack poked Arad's sword. My finger isn't getting sucked in. I can control it, so don't worry. Arad smiled and then took a second stance. Void Step Zon, he disappeared and appeared on the other side of the garden. Void Step. It's faster than my previous Void Walk, so I can spam it easily. Zon, Zon, Zon. Arad started teleporting around the garden, making it hard for Jack to track him. In a second, Arad was behind him, and in the next he was upside down in the sky. Arad smiled, stopping in the middle of the garden, and the last one, his body disappeared in the darkness, infinite void. I cover my whole body with the void. Even my touch is leather to normal people, and I can eat whatever I come in contact with. So you're a walking disintegrator? Jack looked at Kane, standing like a black shadow. Pretty much, but this won't be enough. I can't rely on them. Alcott smiled. I asked him to create sword moves. He looked at Arad. Show him, what did you learn in the past few days? Arad nodded, sucking his sword back into his stomach. First void form, initiative. It's for when I'm not expecting a fight. First void form, initiative. In an instant, Arad activated infinite void in the blink of an eye, sending a shockwave to deter anyone close to him. By the time the darkness of the void cleared, he had already teleported away with Void Step. Wash! Arad swung his sword down at the other side of the garden with Void Dragon Claw. And I killed the attacker. Jack approached Arad. That was fast! So you're trying to become a swordsman? No, I'm just trying to take less damage than before. Arad smiled. So go back. I'm going to perform the second form. Jack jogged back to Alcott and stood watching Arad get into a stance. Let's say there is someone who manages to deflect a sword strike from me. Arad opened his mouth in the blink of an eye. Second void form. Mini roar, clap. A burst of dark void flashed, causing Jack's ears to start ringing. I use my void to absorb the air close to my face, causing it to vibrate loudly to knock the attacker. Arad smiled. Of course I would chew their face off if they got close. He clenched his jaw, referring to his werewolf skill. Or suck their blood off with a neck bite. Novel. Arad then swung his sword in a circle around him, third void form, black shield. The black haze left after my blade when I swing it can still absorb objects into my stomach, so I will use it to absorb arrows and spells. Arad took a deep breath and looked at Alcott. You can absorb spells? Jack looked at Arad, confused. Yeah, I discovered it when I fought a half-purple dragon woman in Rita. Arad smiled. A half-dragon? I wish I saw her. Those are rare, Jack smiled, looking at you. I would have thought you would drag her back home. Arad giggled. No way, that woman is crazy. He knocked on his head even when we fought. I couldn't sense a drop of bloodlust from her. She didn't seem to fear death or care in the least. Arad sighed. There is no way I'm letting such a crazy woman near my house. I mean, I did. Alcott looked at Arad. Ginger wasn't a nice woman when I dragged her back home. Arad looked at Alcott. That's still dangerous. Most people aren't born evil. They only need an opportunity to learn to live normally. Alcott smiled. She only knew humans as cattle, and didn't want to open up and see the wide world beyond the limit of her castle. Alcott looked at Arad. But she was still dangerous. Arad looked back at Alcott. She attacked me right after we walked out of her castle, so I knocked her out. Alcott smiled. It took her a year of living in a cage with me, teaching her about the world to be able to integrate normally. Alcott looked at the sun. And now, that human-killing monster, the unhuman queen of the vampire castle, saved my life. Arad nodded. Fine. I will drag her back home next time I see her. You too? Jack sighed. What do you think she is? The two looked at him. If she is stuck in a circle, someone has to pull her out, even if by force. Arad looked at his stats. Name Arad Orion, race Void Dragon class, Draconic Mage level 1420, XP D16 50,000 subclass, Void Knight. Age stage, very young, 20 years, stats. Available stat points, 4. Available skill points, 0 strength, 21 agility, 22, constitution 24, magic 27, intelligence 24, wisdom 24. HP 448, MP 423469, SP 390434. Let's put all 4 points constitution. I want more HP. Even though you're fairly durable, but it isn't a wasted investment. Stats, available stat points, 0. Available skill points, 0 strength 21, agility 22, constitution 28, magic 27, intelligence 24, wisdom 24, HP 476, MP 423469, SP 390434, only 28 points for 4 levels. For each 2 stat points, you get U-level in what you spend it on. Mom explained, it's look small because you're only level 14. But once you will keep getting more HP each time you level up. HP, class, HP modifier, con, lower 2x level, for Arad. Now 476 equals 20 plus 14 x 14. Before spending the points it was, 448 equals 20 plus 12 x 14 chapter 256 guild meeting. Arad and Jack pushed Alcott back to his home, where Ginger awaited them. Did you finish today's training? Yeah, Arad replied. I only did some basic training. He smiled, getting Alcott into the house. Ginger approached them, looking at Jack. How are you doing? Getting used to your new limbs? Yeah, how did you know? Jack replied, smiling. We've been visiting you for the past 5 days. Ginger smiled. Old man Kane is something else. Of course he is. A voice came from the kitchen, and Merlin walked out. I was awaiting your arrival. What are you doing here? Jack gasped. Shouldn't you be working on the heater? I'm here to mix Alcott's medicine. I have more experience in that field. She smiled, showing them the boiling pot. She then cracked her neck. I also took a big hit trying to stop that meteor. I need some time without magic. What meteor? Jack glared at Arad, confused. Sit down. I will get you back up to speed. Arad smiled, sitting beside Alcott. He then started explaining what he remembered from the fight. Jack got both confused and scared. You mean that bone pile didn't die after I cracked his phylactery? Lich are tough, especially Javian. He was a master necromancer in his life. Ginger looked at them, walking back to the kitchen to help Merlin. Jack sighed. To think Lydia had to finish Shavian off. Arad smiled. She recovered in the past days and is back to top shape. He patted Jack's shoulder. She's been going to quests with Ayala lately, hunting medium monsters like bull deers and giant spiders. Jack smiled. I should be back up as well. He cracked his neck. Let's take a mission. I want to test my new fingers. Jack crackled his fingers and then looked at them. But it's annoying that they aren't silent. I'm sure Kane would have a solution for that. Arad smiled. Let's test them first and get back to him later. Don't take too many risks when you're testing new things, Alcott said with a smile, looking at them. You need a safety net if they break. You're right, Jack nodded. Let's take a small quest. Alcott scratched his chin. I was thinking what type of quest would be effective. He looked at them. Did you ever raid a stronghold? A stronghold? That doesn't seem simple. Arad stared at Alcott. Alcott smiled. Because it isn't. This isn't your usual bandit camp or goblin nest. It's when they are far bigger and organized with tactics. Arad looked at Alcott. So you're suggesting we take one down? Alcott nodded. They have a lot of enemies and are a good experience grind. Just be careful not to get surrounded. Arad stood, and so did Jack. We will go to the guild then. Come, Jack. I'm sure Lydia and Ayla are there as well. Arad turned toward the door and Alcott waved his hand. Be careful and drink a lot of water. I know, Arad smiled, and they left. It didn't take them long to notice people staring at them in the streets. Words have got around about Jack cracking the Lich's phylactery, and they also heard that Arad brawled with the monster. It wasn't just Arad anymore. The people around him began to change, and people noticed. Thud. Arad stood before the guild's door, slowly pushing it open and walking in with Jack behind him. The adventurers moved out of the way. Did you hear rumors say Alcott is retiring and that Arad taking his place? An adventurer whispered. No way. He's just taking a break to recover. Another one sighed. Arad? Abel waved his arm, calling Arad with a smile. He sat on a table beside Merida, Lydia, and Ayala faced him. We're here. Have a seat. Arad and Jack approached the table and sat down. Since when you're here? I just came here. Those three were here before me. Abel replied, looking at the three girls. Lydia smiled. Couldn't you wait for me to visit? She approached Jack, taking a look at his face. I don't want to remain in bed for a long time. I will get out as soon as I can. Jack smiled. But thanks for worrying about me. Bam. Arad smacked Jack's back. You're still alive and well. I heard the explosion when you used your arm. Wait, you already tested that thing? Lydia growled, glaring at Jack as if she wanted to kill him. Can't you just wait till you're healed? You're not the one to speak. Blasting vampires and lich while half dying. Jack flicked her forehead. An oath is something, and you being reckless is something else. Lydia sighed, rubbing her forehead. I had to do it to save people. You probably blast a harmless, inanimate object which doesn't have any merit. Ella looked at Arad. How about you? How did your training with Alcott go? He's a good instructor, Arad smiled. I hope we get the items soon, though. He sighed. I asked Merlin and Mira. Apparently there is a lack of supplies. Ayala looked at Merida to explain. Merchants got scared by the dragons and undead, so they put their trips to Alina on hold. It will take more than time to elevate their fear. Merida looked at Arad. That weird girl is also stuck in the city. What weird girl? Arad looked at her. I'm talking about Roberta. She's been looking for you. Merida smiled. She sold all the jewelry and was looking to get more. Apparently you're her only supplier of good products now. Why I wasn't told anything. Arad looked at Ayala. She only came this morning, Ayala replied. I told her that she must speak to you for more jewelry. Arad nodded. Yeah, we should meet her. He smiled, standing up. But first, let's check the quests. I want something easy and straightforward. Everyone stood. Then we will help you look through the quests. Ayala smiled. It doesn't matter what rank the quest is, does it? Abel gazed back at the board. As long as it isn't an S rank or an A rank that Nina think is dangerous, Arad replied. Chapter 257, The Goblin's Quest. Arad stood before the quest board looking at the hanged papers with a stern look. Bandits, goblins, treants find a cat and bull's testicles again, even the needed help from the elephant trunk. He sighed, glaring back at Abel. Hoy, we already took care of your quest. Why is this one still up? Abel looked away. It's not my fault. A lot of people want to work there. The pay is good, after all, Arad sighed. Fine, do what you like. He looked at the board. Ella, what do you think? If I was to choose, I would take this. She pulled a quest from the corner. Goblin Nest Clearing, she showed Arad the quest. It's right between the border with the Elves' Kingdom, and I fear the goblins have kidnapped some people. Arad looked at the quest. Goblin Nest, a large goblin nest, has appeared behind Eldori's mountain range in a small cave. Several goblin riders, chargers, and even shamans were spotted marching in armed groups of over 30 each. We suspect a goblin king lives there. Quest Objective 01, kill all the goblins and bring the king's head. Quest Objective 02, rescue any hostages the goblins might keep. Quest rank, B rank, quest reward, 5 gold coins for clearing the quest. 5 gold coins bonus for the king's head, and 1 gold coin for each rescued individual. Notes: the goblin shamans use a lot of lightning, fire, and earth magic. They are also experts in creating traps and poisons. The goblin fighters have been spotted rinsing their rusted weapons in their waists, so don't get hit. They use multiple poisons synthesized from the native death bellflower. Such evil. Lydia put the bandit quest she picked and started at the goblin one. We must eliminate those things, she growled. I know, right. Aella smiled. We can't leave them to fester like this. Jack scratched his head. This isn't a normal B-rank quest? He stared at them. I bet it was an A rank but was dropped since no one took it. Jack is right, Nina approached them. It's true that even a C-rank party should be able to clear it with careful planning. It will take an A rank for a risk-free clear, she sighed. A compromise between safety and needed skills. Jack scratched his head looking at Nina. So, why aren't the elves taking it? The cave is located in our land, so it's our problem. Nina looked at Aella. The goblins are keen on attacking the elves and then escaping back to our land, where they can't be chased without causing a war, she explained. That doesn't make sense. Arad stared at her. There are goblins, and they need to die. Which part of that will start a war? Sending armed people to our land. It won't matter how stupid or trivial the reason is. All that is needed is a spark. Nina looked at Arad. I'm just repeating the guild master's words. It's not like I understand. I understand. Aella looked down. The goblins aren't smart enough to understand war. They only knew that the elves won't chase them back to the cave, so they abuse that power. She looked at Arad. The elves won't risk going into the human land without sending a messenger. But that takes time. And even then, the humans would refuse to let the elves in and say they will take care of it. She looked at Nina. But they can't be bothered to waste resources saving elves, so they throw it as a quest and do nothing about it. So all we need to do is kill everyone there. Arad clenched his fists. That would be a lot of expen souls. It won't be that easy. Lydia stared at Arad. Goblins would kill the hostages or torture them to keep us away. They don't have morals to live by. She grabbed the hilt of her sword. As much as I want to drop a smite from God at them, we have to plan carefully this time. This time. And your sight doesn't work on them that well? Jack looked at her. It's half as effective against vampires and undead since they are evil but not unholy, Lydia replied. So are we taking the quest? Arad looked around. I won't be able to go if it takes more than 4 days. I do have duties as the Lord's son, Abel declared. Me as well, Merida lifted her hand. I can't if it will take more than a week. I have to take care of the shop and knit some dresses for the nobles. Aella looked at Merida with a smile. You make noble dresses? A certain someone is becoming a noble soon, and they are trying to get ready for his party. She glared at Arad. I wonder who it is, Sir Arad. It's not my fault. Arad stared back at her. Merida sighed. I'm getting decent traffic thanks to you. Throw 1 or 2 more parties for me. It will help my business grow. Lydia sighed. I heard it's embarrassing for a noble to show up to a party with clothes he wore to another party before. Merida looked at her. Yeah, it makes the noble looks poor, and if he wasn't, then it's taken as an insult to the host. Ella looked at Arad. We need to buy new clothes as well. You can buy as many clothes as you want, Arad replied with a smile. But don't bother for the party. I feel like that would be a waste. I think you should play the noble role if you could. Getting close connections to the other nobles could provide you with valuable information about the lands. We should still get some. Aella looked at Merida. I would like to order a set for me and Mira as well, a woman, and forget it. Come to our house and see for yourself. Arad looked at Jack. Jack, I'm leaving to meet Roberta, so please take care of the registration with Nina. I can't do it. I have to buy supplies and antidotes for the death bellflower. Let Aella take care of that with Lydia. Jack looked at the 2 girls, of course. Aella smiled. Chapter 258, Secret Stairs. Arad walked out of the guild and marched across the street, heading toward the city plaza where he should find Roberta's shop. He got there but still could see her anywhere. I hate it being active all the time. Arad growled inside, bothered by his void eyes stuck active. Right now he could see mana as a faint blue haze coursing through everyone, which was annoying. He approached one of the shops there and looked at the owner. Did you see Roberta's shop anywhere? It could also belong to a man named Geralt. The shop owner lifted his head, glaring at Arad's face for a second before gasping. The Dragon Slayer, she stumbled back. Arad sighed. I'm not Alcott. Can you stop overreacting? I'm not, the shop owner gasped. After Alcott's retirement, you're the one the dragon spoke with. Alcott isn't retiring? He's recovering from an injury for the time being. And I'm not even holding his place. Arad looked at the owner. Can you answer my question? The shop owner sighed, taking a deep breath. Geralt only set shop here for a few days before switching somewhere else. I don't know where he's now. Do you know someone that might know? Go ask in the alcohol shop over there. I saw Geralt stopping by several times. The last one was yesterday, so they might know. The shop owner pointed at a small building on the other side of the street with a large barrel-side dwarven spirit. Thank you. Arad turned around. He walked to the other side of the street and looked at the large wooden door. Knock. Someone here, of course, get in. A loud, deep voice boomed from shaking the door. Arad pushed the door open and walked inside. The alcohol smell quickly hit him like a truck. He pinched his nose. What is this? From behind the counter, a short and stout man with a large beard glared at Arad, laughing while tapping on his stomach. The finest beer, wine, alcohols of all shapes. The man jumped from the chair he was using and approached Arad, barely standing to his waist. Arad looked down. You're shorter than other people I saw, 'cause I'm a dwarf. The man puffed his arms. His biceps almost tore his shirt off. We're stronger than we look. Arad looked at the man. So did you see a man named Geralt lately? I'm looking for him. The dwarf's face changed. He buys alcohol from me. I can tell him that you came looking when he comes next. Arad noticed the change in the dwarf's attitude, and his eyes were picking up magic all over the shop. The dwarf was hiding something. Arad bent down and glared at the dwarf in the eyes. Where is he? I can tell something is off. I don't know what you're talking about. Or are you just getting drunk off the smell? The dwarf growled, returning to his seat. Leave if you aren't buying anything? Arad looked around. Fine, I will leave. He walked behind the counter, and the dwarf grabbed him by the arm. Where do you think you're going? I'm going to see what you're hiding behind that door, Arad said with a calm voice, dragging the dwarf with him. What a raw strength. Who is this man? The dwarf couldn't believe he was being pulled around like a kid latched to an adult's leg. Thud Arad grabbed the door's handle. Click, it was locked. You aren't getting inside, the dwarf growled. Arad pulled on the handle, veins bulging on his forearm. Crack! He pulled the whole thing from its hinges. Ah! I broke it. It was then that the dwarf started sweating. He couldn't believe his eyes. Such a monster had come, and there was no way to stop him. Swash! Lochi landed on Arad's shoulder. Magic is hiding the place. I can't see anything inside. Arad glared back at the dwarf. You aren't just hiding wine inside? Leave. It's for your own good, the dwarf growled. Arad smiled. I'm taking a look inside. Bednaval. He walked downstairs into the darkness. After a minute, he started smelling blood. After 2 minutes, he started hearing screams. And after 3 minutes, the magic surrounding the place got stronger. He reached the end of the stairs, facing a wooden door. Arad grabbed the handle, but this one opened with ease. Click. Welcome. The customer. A butler bowed with his eyes closed as a fancy hallway extended forward. What are you looking for? The underground arena, the black auction, or the black market? The butler lifted his head and looked at Arad's face. He started sweating. Dragon Slayer. He gasped, taking a step back as he recognized Arad. I don't care about those. I'm looking for a man named Geralt, Arad replied with a stern face. Yes, the butler bowed. Sir Geralt headed to the black auction with his daughter Roberta. Arad smiled. Take me there. Thud. The dwarf finally reached the door. Hoy you, he growled. The butler glared back. Get back to guarding the door. I will deal with this. Arad wasn't the kind of person they could just kick out. From all the rumors and what happened recently, they concluded that he could destroy the whole place. Their best chance is to treat him with enough respect to keep him from blasting the place away. After a short time, Arad could hear Roberta screaming, It was a deal, and it's over. That's what I'm saying. I will buy it off you for an extra 2 gold coins. A man's voice came after her. I'm not selling it to you. I already got so move out of the way, Roberta growled. Arad opened the wooden door and walked into the fancy room. He could see Roberta with Gerald behind her facing 5 men. Roberta froze the moment she saw Arad walk out of the door. The man laughed. You're scared. You better sell it to us if that's the case. He pulled a knife. We could pay you a visit later. The butler started sweating, seeing veins popping on Arad's face. Thud, Arad grabbed the man's head. Purple magic flowed from his eyes. Chapter 259, Underground Association. The man glared at Roberta with a smile, but he saw Arad's reflection in her eyes at the last second before getting caught. Thud, Arad grabbed the man by his hair, lifting him a foot above the ground. The man started flailing his arms and screaming, Let go of me, you bastard. Roberta backed away, sweating. She had a hunch that Arad is a dragon, and this man just angered him. This is going to be a bloodbath. Crack. Arad turned the man to face him. You're going to visit who later? Die. The man swung the dagger at Arad's face. Clang. Arad bit the dagger and glared at the man. Crack. Arad's teeth cut through the steel dagger as he munched on it. Tasteless, he growled. Tuff, and spat the metal shards into the man's eyes, blinding him. Grow, wow, 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 wow. The man screamed his lungs out, his voice only serving to anger Arad further. I need Roberta to sell the jewelry. What is this idiot saying? Anger slowly boiled inside his head. Roberta might have died if he didn't show up, and that is unacceptable. What if this was Aella or Mira Vroom? A loud rumbling boomed from Arad's chest as he swung his arm, ripping the hair out of the man's hair and accelerating him toward the door. The man could feel his head getting pulled up and his spine cracking from the contraction, but he quickly lost consciousness as blood pooled in his legs. Crack. The man's body flew right through the door, breaking it and hitting the stairs with a loud crack, sending dust into the air as blood trailed down. The butler and the guards who just came froze in place. They could never expect to see a man's body move like that. One of them approached the man and touched him. He was dead. Arad threw the man so hard that he almost pulled the spine off. The guards looked at his hands, terrified. Such power was no joke. The butler looked at Arad. We shouldn't anger the dragon slayer more than this. We need to get on his good side. Sir, please relax. We will clean the mess so you don't have to worry. The butler smiled and rubbed his hands together, glaring at the guards to take the man away and prepare a private room for Arad and Roberta. You two seem to know each other? He smiled. Did Sir Arad need something that we can provide? Roberta looked back, seeing her father smiling in the back. Just send us a drink, and we will deal with it, Geralt smiled, approaching Arad. The butler rushed out of the room. He couldn't ask for a better excuse to get away from that killing machine. How are you doing, young lad? Extending his hand. Arad smiled, shaking Gerald's hand. I'm doing well. I heard she wanted to meet me, so I came searching for you. Roberta sighed in relief, seeing Arad smile. For a moment, she thought he was going to kill everyone. I'm almost certain Arad is a dragon. I can't offer him anything that he can take by force. I should make sure that he sees us below him and avoid making him look stupid or in the wrong. That's how people get killed by dragons, and we won't be one of them inside the private room. Arad faced Roberta and Gerald. How did the jewelry sale go? Arad asked with a smile. Roberta smiled. We got a great reception. The sales made 30 gold coins, 3 times what we initially thought. She pulled out a small sack containing Arad's money and put it on the table. She had been keeping it ready in case he showed up. Arad looked at the money. So, the sales are good and the jewelry is in demand? Roberta smiled. Of course. Stay calm. Don't offer a thing, offer a service. As long as you provide me with more, I should be able to sell them for a profit. Of course, I have way more to give you. Arad smiled, looking around. By the way, what were you two doing here? Gerald smiled. The trade routes are close in Definity because of the dragons and undead. He looked at Arad, and we needed some goods to sell. We came here to see if we could find something cheap or exotic in the auction to buy and resell. That man knew the good we bought could be resold for a profit and wanted to take it away. Roberta looked at Arad. Thanks for dealing with him. Arad scratched his head. Sorry I ended up killing him. Don't worry. This isn't the kind of place the guards will come look in. Roberta smiled. Not that you should care, Dragon. You two might find this place useful. Gerald smiled, pulling a paper from underneath the table. Here they have the black auction, where you can find people bidding on rare things, the black market where they see illegal things, and the underground fighting arena, where people seek fame fighting monsters or other people. Arad looked at the paper. The butler rushed through the hallway after making sure the tea is headed toward Arad's room. He wanted to inform the mistress of the Underground Association about this incident. He finally stooped by a large black door. Knock, knock. This is me, Jin, Ned Naranglin. What is it? A voice came from inside the room, and Jin pushed the door open and bowed to the blonde lady sitting behind her desk. The Dragon Slayer has shown up in the 3rd section of the auction. Right now he's occupied by the customer Gerald and his daughter Roberta. The butler slowly lifted his head, looking at her face. Alcott is injured. He shouldn't be walking. She glared at the butler with doubt. And Alcott won't mind this kind of activity. The butler shook his head. Please forgive me, mistress. I have explained it wrong. I'm talking about the new Dragon Slayer, Arad Orion, one fabled to reach S rank soon. He already killed one of the customers for threatening Roberta. The woman's face froze, flashing bright red. Arad? She gasped, standing up. What is he doing here? The last time I saw him was at my brother's establishment. Chapter 260, Confrontation. Sarah stood about to go see Arad herself. She looked down, and her clothes looked decent enough for a meeting. I will speak to him personally. You make sure no one gets in his way. I already did that. Everything should be fine as long as he doesn't look for troubles. The butler bowed. I saw his strength and temper firsthand. I don't want him killing anyone else. Oh. They heard a happy cry fill the hallway. Someone invaded the arena. Who is the new challenger? Will he become a new food for our monster? It was the commenter from the arena. Sarah felt a chill down her spine. Right now, the basilisk fight was taking place. Only her brother and Arad are stupid and strong enough to jump in. Follow me to the VIP room. I bet that him. Sarah rushed out, running till she reached the VIP room, panting as she looked from the balcony. She was right. Arad was standing between the basilisk and the man it was fighting. Sarah felt her head pounding. She looked at Arad, smiling. He isn't getting petrified. She gasped. The man behind Arad was already a stone. A few moments earlier, Arad finished his talk with Roberta and was about to leave. Let me goo, ooh, ooh. He heard a scream in the distance, stopping in his track. Did you hear that? Arad looked at Roberta and Gerald. Heard what? The monster growing in the arena? Gerald looked at Arad. Want to go watch the fight? I don't like those, Roberta sighed. People might die. Arad closed his eyes and listened. He could hear the monster roaring, but there were some words in there. Why are you running? Bam! Arad ran across the hallway, leaving Roberta and Gerald in the dust as they tried to catch him. He could see a faint light at the end. Thud, running into the light, Arad found himself running down a stadium filled with people cheering as they looked at a large ring in the middle. Bam! He jumped, skipping everyone and falling straight into the middle of the ring, right between a large lizard and a half-petrified man. The crowd went silent, glaring at the bizarre event. Creak! The man was fully petrified, and Arad glared at the giant lizard. The giant lizard, the basilisk, stopped moving and glared back at Arad. You were screaming a lot, Arad said with a smile, and the basilisk roared at the top of its lungs. No, and Sarah started sweating. He's the real deal. He isn't getting petrified, even though they are glaring at each other eyes. The basilisk glared at Arad, confused. Who is this human? It doesn't matter. Gets petrified. I need food. Petrifying gaze at that moment. The basilisk could feel it. The immense presence standing in front of him like a ghostly figure. He could Arad's draconic form standing behind him as that was what he tried to petrify. A dragon? It's him. I felt his aura before the dragon ruled this land. Before getting captured, the basilisk lived in Alina's forest, and he recognized Arad's draconic aura. Let me out of here, the basilisk roared, shaking the whole arena. Calm down. I don't know how to do that now, Arad replied with a smile. He was the only one understanding the basilisk's words. Thud, Arad and the basilisk started circling around, glaring at each other. Arad was the first to stop moving, and he looked at the petrified man. That's an amazing ability. Arad smiled and looked back at the basilisk. Will you work for me? I need someone strong to guard a house. The crowd got confused even more, hearing Arad speaking with an unintelligent monster. The basilisk weighed his options, either remain here, starving and fighting for a single bite every now and then, or serve the dragon ruling the land. The choice was obvious. The basilisk lowered its head, standing down. Arad approached the basilisk and patted its head. Good. Let's head back inside where no one can see us. I will feed you there. Arad walked the basilisk back to the gate where it came from, and they walked all the way to its cage away from the crowd. Bam! Arad dropped a yeti that he hunted in the mountains for the basilisk to eat. Eat well. I need you to remain strong. He couldn't wait to put it at the garden door in his house, or have it act as a guard for Mira when she wants to get out of the forest. The basilisk started munching on the yeti corpse, and Sarah came rushing across the hallway with 10 armed men. Arad! Arad froze, glaring back. Sarah, what are you doing here? Sarah stopped, panting. That's my question. What are you doing here? The two looked at each other. Master, should I petrify them? But note that I already tried that woman, and I can't turn her into stone. The basilisk growled, but Arad understood its words. I came here looking for Gerald and Roberta, merchants. I did find them, but heard this one crying when I was about to leave, so I came to check. Arad smiled, pointing back at the basilisk. A rank monster, the basilisk. They are dangerous creatures due to their ability to petrify people and their jaws that can crush stones. Sarah looked at the basilisk and got even more terrified seeing a yeti's corpse on the ground. Where did you get that? Arad looked at the yeti corpse. I was on a walk with Ayala in the mountains, and he screamed at us, so I killed him." Arad smiled. But that didn't answer Sarah's question about how did it get here. "Ahem," she cleared her throat. "To answer your question, I own this place. The arena, the black market, and auctions are all businesses that I created. Simply so, such activities could be monitored by the Lord's house instead of foreign hands." Arad looked at the basilisk. "I'm taking this one with me. How much is it?" Sarah could feel her skin crawl and her knees shaking. Her stomach turned as she struggled to open her mouth. Her devil instinct told her this wasn't a negotiation, Chapter 261. Why is the cursed metal so hard to get? "You can take it. I can even get some people to deliver it safely to any location you want," Sarah said with a smile, shaking inside. "I rode on his back, and I know how fast he can get." Sarah looked at Arad, grinning to hide her nervous face. "At this distance, we're all inside his striking range. He could kill us before we could fight back." Sarah could feel a hard lump in her throat as her stomach felt as heavy as a stone. His hand might as well be choking my neck. Arad smiled, approaching Sarah. "Do you know where I live?" Sarah stayed frozen. He never told me where he lives. Is this a trick question? He would expect that I heard from brother, won't he? Arad saw her silent. He looked closer at her face. "You look a bit sick. Go rest a bit and send the basilisk to my house in the forest. The danger zone. Abel should know the way." Sarah snapped back to reality and nodded. "Of course. Is there anything else I could help you with here?" "Not really. I was only looking for Roberta," Arad smiled. "There is one thing you can ask her for." Sarah was about to leave, but Arad stopped her, grabbing her by the wrist. "Wait, there is something I was looking for." Sarah almost pissed herself at the sudden touch. "What is it?" She couldn't help but stutter. "There is this cursed metal I was looking for. It glows green and kills people who get close to it." Arad started explaining, and Sarah quickly calmed down, but she got worried. It had many names, and most scholars quickly dismissed it. Sarah looked at Arad with a stern face. Cursed iron, green death, unholy steel, or even the rot stone. Even dispelling magic curses or holy purification couldn't make it safe to handle. "Can you get it?" Arad looked at her, and she made a hard face. "I can, but it's not easy." She would say impossible to anyone else, but won't to Arad. "The problem is," Arad tilted his head, "finding it, having someone willing to sell, and then transporting it." Sarah looked at Arad. "It isn't easy to move something you can't get close to. Won't magically enchanted things help?" Arad could imagine them keeping the thing in a magic box or a bag. Sarah shook her head. "No, people tried, and it ended badly." She looked at Arad. There was a scholar who put the metal in a bag of holding to transport it. That was successful. But guess where the problem started? Where did it start? Arad looked around. That death thing, the metal has it, accumulated and got released at once when he opened the bag, causing every living being in a 1-mile radius to rot alive. Sarah looked at Arad. "I would kill all of Alina if I did that, so our only solution is to slowly move it traditionally." Arad scratched his head. "Then we should find a large quantity and move it at once." Sarah looked at Arad, wishing she could laugh without him killing her. "Sorry, but that would be a bigger problem." She closed her eyes. Another scholar gathered a bit too much and was experimenting with it, around 2 kilograms. She looked at Arad again. "Guess what happened?" "A lot of people died," Arad replied, guessing it was like the last time. It exploded, throwing the whole city into the sky, and after that a black rain of ash and dust fell, carrying the metal's curse. Till this day, life cannot start in that place. Sarah approached Arad. "I don't know who is angry at that metal, but if it isn't God, I don't know who. It's better to stay away from it forever." Arad sighed. "Fine, just tell me where I can find it. I do need quite a bit for something. Listen, I will do my best to get you at least 1/10 of a kilogram sample. Please wait and be patient." Sarah looked at Arad, smiling. She can't let him bring a lot to the city and end destroying it. You will bring some, are you sure? Arad looked at her, worried she might kill herself or someone else. Don't worry, I can get a team of experts on board to safely get you what you asked for. She smiled. Arad, Roberta cried, finally catching up to him with her father Gerald. Roberta, you followed me? Arad looked behind Sarah, seeing Roberta panting. You suddenly ran off. Why did you interrupt the fight? She sighed, barely standing straight. Thud. Arad patted the basilisk behind him. I took a liking to this one. Gerald stepped before Roberta, glaring at the basilisk. Are you sure it's safe? It won't attack anyone. None of you has turned into stone yet, right? They all looked at each other and smiled. You're right, Sarah sighed in relief. Everyone relaxed except Roberta, who started sweating buckets. Dragon are high lizards. They could dominate lesser ones like basilisks, drakes, and more. He's a true dragon, and there is no other explanation. Arad rubbed the basilisk's head and looked at Sarah. Please, deliver it to my house safely and quickly, but let it finish eating this first. Arad then walked away, letting the two girls stare at his back. The moment he walked around the corner, Sarah fell on her knees, sighing. That was stressful. Nunoba or Robita sat beside her. You better do it. She looked at Sarah. I know, I saw him fight firsthand. I'm not going to risk making him an enemy. Sarah was scared, as she knew how powerful Arad could get, while Roberta became more certain Arad was a dragon. Ayla walked into the guild, approaching Nina's desk. Nina, is what Jack said right? Nina nodded with a serious face. Yes, we got a message confirming it. The goblins raided another elf village 5 days ago. You have to hurry. Chapter 262, S-Rank Power Ranking. Ayla stared at Nina, gulping. We can get there quickly? Nina nodded. I will recommend you ask Arad about that. Carriages and horses aren't fast enough. Crack, the guild door opened and Arad walked in, Jack strolling behind him. You two, come here. Nina waved her palm, calling them. She pulled a large map and showed it to Arad. How long do you think it will take you to get there? She asked. It usually takes weeks to reach the border between the humans and elves. No matter how fast someone could try, it could take over a month to travel. Nina lifted her head and looked at Arad's face. Running at full speed and with stamina potions, I could get there in a day. Arad froze in place, seeing the distance. It could take him at least 5 days to fly there without hurting Ayla on his back. You can run that fast? I won't say run, but jump. Nina smiled. We barbarians aren't smart enough to throw a rock at birds when we see them. We instead try to jump high enough to catch them. I got Jack back from your house to the city in a single leap. Nina wasn't joking. It wasn't that Arad cannot win against her in a fight. He couldn't even run away. Arad imagined himself flying into the sky, running from Nina, and she jumped into the clouds and caught him by the tail. The great Wyrms said she could kill 1 or 2 of them before dying, so she must at least match their speed. Say, how strong are you compared to Alcott and the other S-Rank? Arad looked at Nina, and everyone in the guild gasped, opening their ears to listen. I'm ranked pretty high between the S-Ranks, but I won't say I'm the strongest by any means. The ranks are changing by the day, but I would say Alcott is in the top 20 while I'm in the top 10. She smiled. Who is ranked number 1? Jack asked. A half-devil, half-dragon necromancer named Grey Lisworth. And the second is a human spell sword that goes by the nickname Ape. The third is the Elves' Spirit King, Grant. And the fourth is the Wind Devil, albeit he rarely shows up, but the words are that he's a little kid that always wears a mask to avoid the chains of hell. I would say he's a warlock. Nina stated some of the strongest S-Rank she knows, and whom she thinks are far stronger than her. Are they stronger than world powers? Arad asked with a serious face. World powers? Where did you hear of that? Nina glared at Arad. The dragons, he replied with a straight face. The world powers are in another league. It would take the top S-rank banding together to take down one of them. The strongest of them is the demon lord Caden Daimon, who runs an orphanage chain across the whole world. Please don't attempt to fight that man. He's generally a pacifist and won't fight unless provoked. Nina grabbed Arad's shoulders. Don't even think about fighting them. Just focus on growing stronger and reaching S-rank first. Everything comes in its time. Arad smiled. Don't worry about me. I'm not stupid enough to start a fight that I can't win. Arad looked at the map. Can I take this? We need something to guide us. Of course I brought this for you. Nina smiled, rolling the map and handing it to Arad. She then looked back at Jack. Did you get everything you might need? Jack smiled, hitting Arad in the stomach. And I got him to carry everything. Let's go kill some goblins. The party consists of Arad, the leader, sorcerer, Ayla, the ranged archer, Jack, the trapper rogue, and Lydia, the frontline paladin. Nina stamped the papers and put them inside her desk. Please be careful. Goblins might be weak individually, but they can wipe an A-rank party in seconds in groups, especially inside their nest and with their traps. Nina smiled. Arad looked behind him. People are calling me Dragon Slayer, but that belongs to Alcott. Can you call me Goblin Slayer after this quest? Ranking Slayer, Sense Slayer. Some adventurers shouted, laughing, Just be careful. Alina's star. Another one of them smiled, lifting his mug. Goblins are green little bastards. A toast to the success of this mission. Arad, Ayla, Jack, and Lydia headed through the city streets. They will go to Arad's house first, then fly from there to the borders. Let's go check on Lila's shop. She did tell me she got some saddles. Ayla looked at Arad with a smile. She wasn't going to sit on a rug on his back for the whole trip. Cling. Arad opened Lila's shop door, walking inside with a smile. Mother, Lila, are you here? He asked. Arad, I'm here, Lila replied with a smile as she stood behind the counter facing another customer. Arad blinked twice, seeing the strange man. The man stood taller than Arad, but much more thinner. Sutures covered his topless body as if he was grafted from several humans. His short white hair glowed under the light as his red eyes looked at Lila with a smile. This vase? It looks nice. The man held a vase, showing it to Lila. How much is it? 5 silver coins, Lila replied. Not Narag, not Rabe. The man smiled, putting the money on the counter. I will take it. Do you have anything else? Lila pointed at the shelves. Take a look there and pick whatever you want. The man turned around. Please excuse me. He walked past Arad and started glaring at the shelves, humming. Arad looked at him for a second before turning to talk with Lila. Lydia glared at the man, disgusted. I smell the dead from you, she growled, grabbing the hilt of her sword. The man stopped, looking at her, smiling. I'm a necromancer, after all. Sorry if I was stinking. Are you a paladin? Arad, Jack, and Ayla froze. They knew Lydia could snap at any second, smiting the man. You're awfully relaxed for a necromancer facing a paladin. Lydia glared at the man. The man tilted his head. Only hay fear fire. I don't have anything to hide. I'm but a scholar who studies the dead. Cling. Lydia pulled her sword. She can't put a blind eye to a necromancer, especially after what happened with Javian. I only came here to visit my dad and beautiful younger sister. The man lifted his long arms. Smite me if you want. I don't want to cause trouble. Chapter 263. I need saddles. The strange man glared at Lydia with glowing red eyes. Come on, try smiting me. He smiled. I will let you get a hit in. Lydia calmed down. Arad stood between them. I don't sense any malice or bloodlust from him, and we're in Lila's shop. Lydia stared at Arad and then at Lila. Sacrifices must be made, she growled, and her sword burst into golden flames. The man smiled. Well then, let me show you something. He lifted his palm, igniting it with holy flames and staring at Lydia with a smile. I can also use divine smite, Cling. The holy flames faded from Lydia's blade as she sheathed it. Damn, you say that earlier, she sighed. A quick change. Jack stared at her. Evil people will never be able to use divine smite. Lydia looked at Jack. He's a good one since he can use it. The man laughed. I study undead to learn how to counter them, fighting fire with fire. Lydia smiled. Dedication to good light cannot be underestimated when one has to dip in the filth of evil firsthand. Main labellums, the man nodded. Lady Lila, he looked back. How much is this tea set and this ornament old robe? 10 and 9 silver, respectively. Lila replied with a smile, and the man took them, paying on the spot. See you later. I do want to check on my dad. The man walked out of the door, leaving everyone stunned for a second. It's not every day they meet a good necromancer. So what brought you to me? Lila looked at Arad with a smile. Well, we are going on a trip and need saddles, big ones. Arad said, scratching his head. My scales are hard and painful to sit on for a long time. Well, I'm sure that 2-ox saddles would fit you nicely. Let's hope we don't need elephant ones, she giggled. What do you think I am? Arad laughed, resting his fists on his hip. It depends on the thickness of your neck, but I will get it done in a second. She pulled a ledger and looked at it. I don't have ones here, but I can send you to someone who has. Thank you, it will help. Arad smiled. Aella looked at Lila. By the way, how did that thing go? Lila blinked for a second. I was trying to keep it a surprise. She looked at Arad. Your armor is ready. She smiled, closing the ledger and heading to the back rooms. After a few minutes, she came back dragging a large stand with a suit of armor. It's quite light, but durable, Lila said, showing the red and purple armor to Arad. A scale mail made from the red dragon scales mixed with yours. The effects are magic resistance, fire resistance, and cold resistance. It's also quieter than it looks, so you can still sneak in it. Arad looked at the armor. It looked beautiful. But I'm wearing my scales. More layers are always better. You wanted to take less damage, right? Lila smiled and Arad sucked the armor into his stomach. I also managed to get this. She pulled a medium-sized crate and opened it. Fire Quiver can add a temporary fire attribute to arrows. And this one here is Shadow Eye made by dusting your scales on a pair of black glasses. It grants some night vision. Ella took the quiver while Jack took the glasses. Nice. I didn't expect you to have some left. I hired someone efficient as the materials are rare to come by. Lila scratched her cheek. Blight, it cost a fortune. She looked away. How much? Arad looked at her. 15 gold coins for the armor, 4 for the quiver, and 4 and 50 silver coins for the glasses. A total of 23 gold coins and 50 silver. Fine by me, Arad smiled. Here is the money. He pulled the gold coins from his stomach and handed them to Lila. Don't forget to ask Mira for money if you needed more. She has access to it back home. There is no need. Lila waved her hand, but I will ask if I needed, she smiled. So what about the saddles? Jack looked at Lila. I don't want to start a mission with back pain. Ah. Lila opened the ledger again. There is this shop called Leather Works of Dodori. They make leather shoes, jackets, and saddles. I will give you an order by my name so they won't suspect you're the one using the saddles. Lila pulled a paper and started writing a letter. Do you think they would have saddles ready? Arad looked at her. Of course, they always have a lot in stock. Lila smiled. Here you go. Give it to them and pay what they ask for. If you felt it to be expensive, tell them that I would pay and I would haggle the price later. How much should I expect? Around 50 silver for a low-quality one. A decent one would go for around 1 gold coin and 20 silver. A premium one can reach upward of 2 gold coins. Those are large ox saddles, after all. Lila looked at Arad. For your purpose, I would suggest low quality for Lydia as she's wearing plate armor and won't feel a difference. Medium quality for Jack and the best for Ella. No, I would get the best for everyone then. Arad nodded. I don't really mind a low quality one. Lydia looked at Arad as Lila said, it won't matter. I would buy it so you can switch seats with ease. I don't want everyone to start thinking about it too much. Arad decided to buy the best. I also intend to carry Mira on my back and probably Tina as well, so I need all seats to be suitable. Lila handed the letter to Arad, and they walked out, heading to the Dodori Leather Works. The large shop was built right behind the Adventurers Guild, close to the city horse shop. Arad pushed the wooden door. "Excuse me? Is someone here?" "I'm here." "Did you need something?" Arad heard a woman's voice, but he couldn't see anyone. "Where are you?" He took a step forward and tripped on something falling on his nose. "Ah," the woman's voice cried. "Be careful, idiot." Chapter 264, the halfling store owner, Arad, rolled on the ground, staring around him to see a strange scene. A woman no taller than Ayla's tides, with large hands, feet, and long ears glared at him. "Ya, stupid snot. Look carefully before walking." She glared at Arad. Arad stood and looked down. She barely reached above his knees. "What are you, a dwarf elf?" Arad asked, looking at her. "I'm a halfling. We're called that since we're half a human height most of the time." The woman wiped the dust from her clothes and walked toward the counter, jumping above her chair. "So what do you need?" Arad pulled the letter from his pocket and handed it to her. 3 saddles. The woman looked at the letter and scratched her head. "Well, I do have some ready, but I would much rather have a look at the ox so I can tailor them to size." She looked at Arad. "Is that possible?" Arad blinked for a moment. "No, we're supposed to deliver them to the client in a faraway land," he replied, and looked at Jack for help. Jack smiled. "Lady, it won't matter as long as it's slightly fit." The woman looked at them and jumped from her chair. "Don't complain to me later." She walked toward the back door and dragged 3 saddles out. 1 gold 90 silver per one. If you needed them tuned later, you have to pay me 20 silver coins per saddle. Arad smiled. "Fine by me." The woman looked at Arad for a second. "Lila needs to give you a real beating." "What?" Arad got confused, glaring at her. "Learn to haggle, buffon. And those are the medium quality. I can't believe she sent you without showing what good ones look like." The woman sighed, dragging the saddles to the back and bringing another 3. From a single glance, Arad could tell those ones are made of better material and had a tighter craftsmanship. "Oh no, 1 gold 80 silver coins now per saddle, and 20 for the tuning later." She looked at Arad. "Next time, bring an expert." Arad looked at the saddles and then at the woman. "You were testing me?" The woman climbed on her desk and picked up her smoke pipe, lighting it and taking a deep sip. "Lila said you're marrying Mira soon." "I can't scam you in our first meeting." "You scam people?" Arad stared at her. "I scammed dumb people who avoided learning how to haggle." She smiled. "Take your saddles and leave, of course. Leave the money here," Arad smiled, paying her. "Thank you for the saddles. I will bring them back if they needed tunning." "Thank you for your patronage," the woman smiled, waving her hand as they left. Cling. Gray pushed the shop's door open, looking at the beautiful vases and flowers. "Dad, I'm back," he said with a smile. Kane smiled behind his counter. "It's been a while since you last visited, Gray." "I sensed a necrotic surge around here and wanted to have a look." "How are you doing lately?" Gray asked, with a smile, approaching Kane. "I'm doing better than before." My bones stopped rattling. Kane smiled, flicking his finger and pulling 2 wooden chairs for him and Gray to sit on. Gray sat down and looked back. He could feel Jemima's aura in the back. "Lady Jemima, glad to see you doing well. Do you know where Sister Senna is?" He smiled. Jemima walked from the back door and stared at him. "Why don't you ask her?" Thud! Senna grabbed Gray by the head. "You can tell I'm here, can't you?" "No, I can't," Gray giggled. "You can always sneak up on me." "What if I can? You never try around us. It's annoying." Senna growled. "You know, I don't like that." "What are you saying?" Gray turned to look at her face. "I can't even if I tried. There is a reason you're staying here with Dad." Senna glared at him. "Well, you're right," she sighed. "Come on, you two. You always fight." Kane smiled, looking at them. "I remember how excited Gray was when Senna was born, and I do remember how you looked up to him." He looked at them. "That's right. Gray closed his eyes and looked at his father. So, Dad, what is that void dragon deal? I can kill him if he's an annoyance. No need, leave him alone. Kane looked at Gray. Unless you want Senna to kill you right away. You know she's able to. Gray froze, almost turning into stone, as he glared back at Senna. I'm going to skin that bastard. He stood growling crack. Senna punched Gray in the face, knocking him to the ground. Mind your own business. Arid and the rest reached his house, stopping by the garden gate as Mira and Tina came to greet them. Arid, you're back. Mira rushed out. Tina walked out of the door and bowed slightly. Master Arid, welcome home. Arid walked forward. We aren't staying for long. We have an urgent goblin-slaying quest. And we need to move. Really? Mira sighed. And I thought you would stay home longer. We will return quickly. I can fly, you know. I know. Mira sighed and then looked at Arad. By the way, you got something from Merlin this morning. She smiled, running back inside and bringing a box. Arad opened the box to see a large, dark cloak and a small quiver. Those are the items Merlin worked on. He smiled, showing the box to Jack and Aella. Jack took the cloak and put it on, while Aella took the quiver and strapped it next to her fire one. The cloak should make you invisible for a short time, while the quiver has a large storage to hold arrows. Arad smiled, opening his palm and dropping hundreds of arrows from his stomach for Aella to use. She picked the arrows, filling her fire quiver, and then putting the rest into the storage one. With this, I can have a faster access to arrows. Before, she used to take arrows from Arad when her quiver runs dry, but that wasn't an option mid-fight. Chapter 265, Taking Flight Toward the Goblins. Swash. Arad transformed into his draconic form and laid down so Aella and Jack could strap the saddles on the back of his neck. Mira walked out of the house with 2 wooden chairs stacked. Use those, she smiled, looking at Jack and Aella. The 2 slowly strapped the saddles on Arad's back, making sure to tighten everything so they won't fall. This won't be a short trip, and they would spend the better part of the day on Arad's back. I finished here. Jack waved his hand. The straps were a bit too long, so I cut them down. He handed Aella his dagger. Cut them on your end as well. As Jack and Aella strapped Arad, Lydia went through everything that they might need, counting and making sure they stored it safely in Arad's stomach. Everything is ready. Lydia looked at Arad, lifting a thumb. Jack and Aella responded the same way. He's all strapped down. Jack smiled. Arad stood stretching his neck as he activated the gravity magic to make sure no one would fall from his back. I'm all set. Get on. He lowered his right wing so they could climb easily. Jack, you sit in the front, Lydia said, pointing at the front saddle. Why me? Jack looked back at her with a smile. I won't mind, though. Shouldn't Aella be in the front? Arad turned his head, staring at them. We will use him as a windshield. Lydia replied with a straight face. I see, Arad smiled. Hoy, wait. Jack stared at Lydia. Ah, fine. Arad's head should be big enough to block the wind. They climbed and sat on their saddles. Jack is in the front, followed by Lydia and then Aella. Well then, take care. We could be back in a week or more, Arad said, staring at Mira and Tina. Take care, and be careful. I hear those goblins are dangerous. Mira looked at Arad with a worried face. Stay safe, Master Arad. Lady Aella, Tina bowed. Don't worry, I can always blow them all out with a single breath. Dragons are a bigger problem than goblins. Arad smiled. Creak. A long sunflower grew, reaching Arad's face. Goblins have killed more strong people than history care to note. I saw 10 A-rank parties getting wiped by them on my back alone, Losi said with a serious voice, glaring at Jack, Lydia, and Aella. Thud. The fairy sat on Arad's nose, looking at his eyes. And I doubt they grew to be such a big problem on their own. Someone might be behind the goblins guiding them, she said with a smile. I understood. I won't take them lightly. Arad nodded, expanding his wings as he got ready to fly. Flap, 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 flap! Arad flapped his wings and took to the sky, quickly rising above the clouds. Cold, Jack gasped, covering his body with his cloak. He stared back. You two aren't feeling it? Lydia smiled. We aren't the windshield? Arad, fly toward the sun. I want some heat. Jack looked at Arad's head. It won't matter. The wind is what cools you down. Arad lifted his head a bit. But I can do this. A gentle flame ignited between Arad's horns, sending a gust of warm wind toward Jack. Ah, Jack sighed. This feels way better. Who knew you come with a heater? Careful, you might get burned, Arad released a small gust of flames at Jack's face, burning the tips of his eyebrows. They flew till nightfall and then camped in the forest. Arad picked a dangerous spot filled with monsters so they won't get attacked by bandits on the second day of the trip. Arad stopped mid-flight, hovering in place. Jack, is a white carriage important? What? What kind of white carriage? Jack looked at Arad, as did Ayla and Lydia. I can't see it that well. It's far on the horizon, Arad replied, pointing with his claw. Arad and Ayla tried to look, but they didn't see anything. Arad's vision was far better than theirs. Most people don't bother painting their carriages, so I say a noble or a merchant, Jack replied, making a guess. A merchant, Arad remembered when he saved Roberta. They might pay him some gold if he saved them. Arad looked back at Jack. You three wait here. I will go take a look at them. You want to help them? Lydia looked at Arad. I will go with you. I won't help them for free. They would have to pay. He floated down. We paladins don't ask for rewards when helping someone on our own. Meaning, I can't go with you? Lydia tilted her head, confused by what he implied. That's it, Arad shifted into his human form. I will be back in a second. You're going in human form? Ayla looked at him. I want to test my sword skills, and I don't feel like relying on my draconic powers all the time. He remembered how many times he got close to death. It isn't because my enemies were strong, and it wasn't because I was unlucky. It's because I'm weak. I can't control to tame my own powers. Arad took a deep breath, glaring in the direction of the carriage. Bam! He blasted forward, running as fast as he could. Clang! Clang! Seal! Clash! Steel clashed with iron as blood splashed across the green grass. The knights lifted their shields, blocking the heavy attack of large yellow and black tigers. Bandits rushed around, pulling their crossbows back and aiming, the bolts flying like lightning sparks. We lost one. Kill the tigers, a knight, wearing full-plate armor, growled, swinging his greatsword and cleaving one of the bandits in half. It's useless, Captain. They outnumber us. We can't get to the elves at this rate. Bam. The carriage door kicked open, and a blue-haired woman in her early 20s walked out, pulling a thin sword from her waist. Swash! She swung the blade, cutting the side of her massive skirt so she could move better. Some of the knights and bandits tried to sneak a look, but she was wearing brown short pants with plated steel. Someone is trying to prevent us from reaching elves. We need to push through at all costs. Roar! A tiger lunged forward, leaping at the young woman with its jaw wide open. Your Highness, the knight captain screamed. The woman shifted her gaze crack in a single swift move, and with a passive face, she kicked the tiger with her heel beneath the jaw. Freeze, crack! The tiger head turned into ice and exploded from the impact. Chapter 266, Summoned Tigers. Thud, the tiger's corpse fell to the ground, and the woman glared at it. Roland, we need to retreat. We don't have enough power to push through them. We need to retreat now and attack later. This is the only way we can push forward, she thought. Even with her fighting, they are far outnumbered. Roar! Another tiger lunged at her, and she swung her sword to kill it. Bam! Bam! Two bandits fired their bolts at her simultaneously. Their plan is annoying, have the tigers attack and prevent us from defending or reacting by shooting bolts. Clang! Clang! The woman deflected the bolts flying at her back and side, and then tried to dodge the tiger paw. Slash! Blood splashed as the tiger's claws hit her shoulder. She stepped back and looked at the monster. Creak! Ice froze her wound shut. I need a shielder to watch my back. I can't dispatch the tigers alone. Our hands are full, the shielders cried. There were more tigers prowling around, and leaving their spots could mean an instant loss. The woman lifted her sword. Fine, I will do it alone. She looked at the tiger approaching her while keeping an ear on the other bandits. She listened for the moment their crossbows fire. As her concentration rose, she could feel something immense approaching. For a moment, she thought someone fired a large spell at her back. Clap! Arad jumped from the trees, swinging his sword down at full force. Void dragon claw with crescent darkness. Arad's sword cleaved the tiger from head to tail. Boom! A large shock wave exploded as the steel met the bones, cracking the ground beneath Arad's foot as he used his full weight. The woman felt a sharp pain in her ears, followed by a loud ringing. She glared at Arad's back with blurred vision. Seeing him bend forward and take a deep breath, she could see his armor shift as the muscles on his back tightened, but novel. Arad exhaled, the veins on his arms and neck bulging as he looked at all the tigers. Good, exactly 8 left. He tightened his grip so the sword would be as sharp as possible. Action surge, Arad mumbled. Vroom, bam! He disappeared from the woman's vision as a cloud of dust exploded, followed by a loud boom that rattled her guts with 8 swings. Arad cleaved the other tigers in the blink of an eye, sending a loud shockwave as he moved and sliced with void dragon claw. The woman glared in shock, seeing Arad drift on one leg after the massacre. His eyes focused behind her. She turned and saw several bandits aiming their bows at him. Bam, bam, they fired. Arad took a deep breath. Third void form. Black shield. Arad spun his blade, creating a black circle that absorbed the bolts into his stomach. What is this, an adventurer? The woman gasped, struggling to understand what was happening in front of her eyes. Zahn. Arad disappeared in the blink of an eye, leaving her even more confused. Where did he go? The bandits cried, but soon felt a painful slash at their backs. Arad didn't leave them room to react. The bandits spread out like scared hens, pointing their crossbows and swords at Arad. One of the bandits ran all the way back and pulled a crystal from his pocket. I call you out, fangs of the hunt. He smashed the crystal on the ground. A gust of black smoke exploded, and a large black tiger with flames burning from its hide growled, glaring at Arad. What do you think, my best summon? The knight captain growled. So the endless stream of tigers for the past 2 days was from you, a cursed warlock. The new tiger summoned was called the Ember Fang Tiger, and it was twice the size of a normal tiger and boasted a strength beyond what humans could hope to achieve. The knight captain knew that he would need at least 10 people to take that monster down. Arad glared at the tiger. You're a big one. He smiled. Huh. Let's see you kill it, the warlock shouted. Stab. Arad appeared behind the warlock, stabbing him in the heart. Why would I die? He sliced the bastard in half. The moment the summoner died, the Ember Fang Tiger started rampaging. It didn't disappear as Arad hoped. Everyone get away. Let it get lost in the forest. The knight captain's plan was simple. Let the monster run away. We don't need to fight it. Arad wasn't the type that listened, and the Ember Fang Tiger smelled quite nice to him. It was a waste of food and XP to let it escape. Thud, Arad grabbed the tiger by the tail, and everyone stared in disbelief, sweat dripping from their faces. Arad swung his sword up, slicing the tiger's tail. Roar! The tiger roared, leaping away as Arad smiled. Come back here! With those words. Arad's boots disappeared as he stood on the ground barefoot. Nina said to feel the tremors on the ground to predict the attack of a wild beast that can't be predicted by normal means. He tried to listen well, feeling each slight change in the ground. Thud, thud, the tiger lunged from left to right and swung its paw at Arad. Arad lifted his sword and blocked the strike, getting sent flying to a tree. I didn't feel that attack coming. I still need practice, he mumbled, bam. Arad stood and rushed at the tiger, dodging a paw strike with ease. Thud. The tiger leapt back and swung another paw at Arad. Second void form, mini roar. Arad shouted, sending a blast that deflected the tiger paw and stunned it for a second. You aren't that impressive after all, he smiled. That fight was like a crocodile facing a house cat. Unfair. Clang. Arad swung his sword as the tiger stumbled back, void dragon claw, and cleaved the tiger's head, letting blood rain from the sky. He then turned toward the other bandits, but he found them already dead. The knights managed to win since Arad broke the bandits' formation, chapter 267. Isdis Leor Ruris, clack, clack. The knights sat on the ground, panting as they looked at the countless bandit corpses they left behind. Their captain turned toward Arad and stared at him for a second. "Thanks for your help. Are you an adventurer?" Arad walked toward him. "Arad Orion, B rank," the captain gasped. "Only B rank?" The woman in the back blinked twice. "Arad Orion? The one from Alina?" "Yeah. Don't tell me words traveled to this place?" Arad sighed, thinking she heard one of the rumors about him. The woman looked down, grabbing her chin and thinking, "Father received a letter about promoting this man into a noble before I left. I believe he dismissed it with how stupid the claim of a human punching a vampire is." She stared at Arad. "But with what I saw now, the way this man moves, he isn't normal. Say, do you want to work as one of my knights?" she said with a smile, extending her hand. "No, I have other things to do," Arad instantly replied with a second delay. Binovlikim, the captain approached Arad. "We're here on a mission to escort the elves from their land into ours to deal with a goblin infestation. But some people seem to not like that." He looked at the bandit's corpse. "Sir Arad, we have to move quickly, but I can't let you go without a suitable reward." She looked at Arad. "If he's this strong now, he's going to only get more dangerous in the future. It's in the kingdom's best interest to keep him close." Arad looked at her. This was the part he came here for. "So, what are you paying?" Pew! An arrow flew through the trees, racing toward the woman's neck. Zon, clack! Arad teleport to her side and caught the arrow with one hand, breaking its shaft. "What?" The woman gasped. "Knight Captain, get everyone ready. Shut up for a second." Arad growled above her head and she swallowed her words. "Who shot this? I can see anyone where the arrow came from. I also can't feel anything by the smell or noise." Arad scanned the forest in the direction of the arrow. No, there is something else. He could see a faint green trail of magic with his void eyes across the air. The trail twisted and turned between the trees, eventually making a whole turn. Arad turned his head to look in the opposite direction to where the arrow came from. In the far distance, he could an elvish man holding a large bow. The elvish man gasped, seeing Arad turn toward him from that distance. It was unheard of for someone to catch his arrow, but he could even pinpoint his location. The man turned away to run. Arad looked down at the woman. "I found him. I will be back." Zon Arad disappeared, leaving that woman shaking in her place. "Princess Isdis, are you all right?" the knight captain asked, seeing her standing in silence. Isdis turned her head toward the captain. "I'm fine." She looked in the same direction. Arad looked, sweating. For a moment there, he felt bigger than those tigers. "It's his strength." The captain nodded. "There is no doubt about it. He's stronger than us by a lot." He looked at the tigers' corpses. This is a feat belonging to an at least A-rank adventurer. Zon Arad appeared again, dragging the elvish man by the ear. I caught him, the archer. Arad kicked him to the ground. We were in the forest. The elf gasped as he didn't comprehend Arad's void step Isdis, and the captain stared at the elf, and back at Arad. He's the one who fired the arrow. He was hiding about 300 meters in that direction. Arad pointed back with his thumb, and Isdis felt as if a heavy stone fell on her head. The royal castle wasn't that big. Arad could have gotten into its head in what seemed like a second. Isdis looked at Arad, almost ignoring the elf. She can't let Arad loose. He's too strong to not be tied to anything. We will interrogate him later. Let's discuss your reward first. Isdis rushed back into the carriage. They didn't carry that much money, and what they had was needed for the trip. She ran through her bag and finally found something useful. Isdis walked out of the carriage with a smile and approached Arad. "This is for you," she extended her hand, carrying a gold pendant. Arad looked at it, and it had a name engraved on its back. "Isdis Leor Ruris, what is this?" Arad could see faint waves of magic dancing around the thing. So he asked, "My royal pass. It simply means that you're working for me." She smiled, and Arad looked at her. "Royal?" he thought. Izdis smiled. "With it, you won't be stopped in any checks at any city, and even nobles won't speak against you, since it means you're working on my behalf." Arad looked at the pendant. "But I don't work for you. It doesn't matter. Just take the benefits and leave everything else." Izdis smiled. "I don't need to be able to order him around. All I need is for other nobles to think he's working for the royal family. This should buy us time to find a deal to recruit him before any other nations take notice of him." Arad took the pendant. "So, what's the magic laid on it?" He looked at Izdis, and she started sweating. "Nothing. Just an enchantment to prove the pendant is real and not copy." Izdis looked away. "I can't tell him it's tracking magic. It's used to find the pendant if stolen and keep an eye on the people using it." "Fine," Arad smiled and threw the pendant into his pocket. "I wonder what Abel would say if he saw this. I'm sure Jack would find a way to abuse this thing for money." Arad looked at Izdis. "Are you a royal?" Chapter 268. Drawing Attention. "Yes, I'm Izdis Lior Ruris, the 6th princess of Alsuria." Izdis smiled, resting her fists on her hips and lifting her chin. "I see," Arad nodded. "Well then, see you later. I still need to go to work." He turned and was about to leave. "Wait." There, Izdis cried. "You can't just leave." She can't believe he didn't react at all. Most people would get scared seeing a royal. But for some reason, she was the one scared standing in front of him. "I can. I left my friends waiting to come here, and I don't intend to waste a lot of time," Arad replied. "Sir Arad, could you wait for a second?" The knight captain approached Arad. "I'm the head captain of Her Highness Izdis's guards. I wanted to thank you for doing our job." Arad stopped and looked at the captain. He then turned his head toward Izdis. "I saw her kill a tiger by kicking and freezing its head. Was that magic?" "Yes. Her Majesty is a spell sword, albeit a novice one." He looked at Izdis. "A fighter with an arcane subclass." "Oi, stop exposing my class!" Izdis cried. But the captain smiled. "I see." Arad looked back at her. "I'm a sorcerer, a red draconic bloodline." Everyone froze for a second. Those weren't the moves of a sorcerer. Everyone thought he must have been a high-level fighter. The captain looked at Arad, and something clicked in his head, that coal black hair, tall body, and large muscles. "Even the way he stands and speaks, sir." "Arad, you must have trained with someone skilled." He smiled. "Yeah, the dragon slayer, Alcott, is the one teaching me swordsmanship," Arad replied, and the captain took a step back. "Of course you would be strong training under an S rank," he sighed. "They look really similar." "Wait, Alcott is training you?" Izdis gasped, staring at Arad. How could a sorcerer learn sword arts? Even I, as a fighter, find it hard to learn spells while practicing the sword. She and Arad were polar opposites. He's a mage who trained with the sword while she's a fighter who learned magic. It was embarrassing that he was better with the sword than her. I said enough. Arad turned around. "I must leave, Zahn." He disappeared without saying another word, leaving them baffled. Izdis sighed. "He left." She looked at the captain. "We must move. But let's hope we can meet him again." She tapped her side. Trying to pull the map, her pocket felt lighter. "Wait." She opened her pocket and looked inside. He took something. She screamed, looking inside, but all her things were in place. He didn't. She looked down with a puzzled face. Zahn. Arad landed far away and looked at the carriage. He could see a trail of his gravity magic on Izdis. "This will allow me to track her from afar, or as long as she's in my field of vision. Gravity magic is the only one you can stick on her with dealing damage." Arad sighed, looking back. "Let's go to Ella and the other. I bet they are bored waiting for me." Back on the carriage, Izdis rushed back into the carriage and pulled a magic crystal. "Let's see where he is now," she said, with a smile, but soon started sweating. "The hell, he's 6 kilometers away?" She gasped, unable to believe what she was seeing. She flipped the crystal and tied it to see what was around the necklace or hear what he was saying. Nothing but darkness, silence, and large violent pulses of magic enough to kill a person. "Why can't I see anything?" she cried. The knight captain opened the door and looked at her. "He probably figured you out and hid it somewhere that you can't track. But I can know how far he is." She looked back at the knight captain, but the crystal suddenly flashed with white light. "Wait, I'm getting a look." Izdis smiled, glaring at the crystal. A large nose appeared. Someone seems to be inspecting the pendant up close. "What do you think?" Arad's voice came out. "We could sell it for a few platinum coins or rent it for a stable income," Jack replied, flipping the pendant and looking at its back. "So those are his party members." Izdis looked closely. 2 humans and an elf. One seems to be a paladin. That means his party can't be bad." The captain smiled. "Adventurers usually behave close to bandits, but having a paladin means they are at least roughly good. I know. I wonder if they are coming for the elves as well." Izdis smiled, looking at the map she kept hidden in the carriage. "We must reach the elvish border and guide their troops to clear the goblin infestation and hopefully set the ground for peace." Izdis smiled. Creak. The crystal went dark again, and after a second or two, Izdis saw Arad's location rise up several kilometers into the sky, moving at mind-boggling speed. "Just what is he?" Izdis scratched her head. "If he trained with Alcott, I suspect one of his friends trained with Merlin or Ginger. Those 2 are exceptional mages." The head guard looked at the crystal. "Storage, magic, and flight magic. If we considered his strength, the other party members should be at his level." Izdis sighed, sitting on her chair and throwing the orb back on the seat. Thud. The knight captain jumped out, looking at the sky. "Sir," one of the knights came rushing. "We were resting, but just noticed that the big tiger corpse had disappeared." "What?" "It was behind the trees." He rushed out to look, but only found the bloodstains. It didn't disappear due to the magic fading, because the blood would have disappeared as well. "Someone took the corpse away." Arad's image came into his vision. "Don't tell me. He carried that thing away?" He started sweating. The head guard turned toward the carriage and rushed to Izdis. "Please be careful with that thing. Destroy the link if you felt they got suspicious even a bit." He growled. "Why?" She looked at him. "That man, Arad Orion, he carried the Ember-Fang tiger with him," he said, and Izdis instantly understood what he meant. That thing weighed over 500 kilograms, and Arad moved 4 kilometers in a few seconds with it. "No, or forget A rank. Isn't he close to S rank at this stage?" Izdis gasped. "His face and body structure reminded me of Alcott when he was young. I suspect he isn't just training under him." The head knight growled. "Are you saying Alcott had a son all this time and we didn't know? His mother can't be Ginger, could it?" Izdis looked at the crystal. "She's a vampire, isn't she?" "Yeah, we've ignored her since she's with one of the S ranks, but that man could be a Dhampir." The head knight growled, "And he's with a paladin." Chapter 269. Another strange village. Bam Arad landed in the forest. "I can see the village from here," he said, lowering his wing. Jack, Ayla, and Lydia jumped down, and Arad shifted back to his human form. "We should be able to get there on foot. I also wanted to stretch my legs a bit." Jack stretched, cracking his back. "We sat for a long time." He looked at Arad. "But I don't mind riding a dragon." "I do. It's exhausting while wearing heavy armor." Lydia sighed, doing tiny jumps. "We should get moving. That is a human village. Are they the ones who sent the request?" Ayla looked at Arad. "I thought this was an elf problem." "It is. The villagers here aren't minding the goblins since they aren't attacked." Arad replied, "It just happened that they are close and perfect for a base as we do the quest. We get a room there and slowly work on taking the goblins down." Jack smiled. "Do you think they will be happy to see us clear the goblins?" "They should be. They might not be attacked, but the threat is still there." Arad smiled. "Let's get rid of the goblins before they could harm more people." They started walking and soon reached the village. "Stop right there." "Who are you?" The village guard, a tall man with leather armor, and a bow strapped to his back shouted, aiming at Arad. "This is the Riverside Village. Identify yourselves, or I will shoot." "His aim is unsteady," Aella whispered to Arad. "He's untrained and lacks the stamina to keep the bow drawn for long. Arad Orion, an adventurer, and this is my party. I came here on a quest to clear a nearby goblin nest," Arad replied with a smile. "A goblin nest?" The guard lowered his bow and nodded. "Open the gate, but keep an eye on them." The large wooden gate groaned as the unoiled hinges cried, dragging on the dirt and leaving a trail. It opened for everyone to enter. Arad walked through the gate and saw 7 other guards glaring at them. "We will guide you to the village head house. We're only doing our job, so we ask you to behave." "We're here for the goblins, not to harm you," Arad replied, walking behind them with everyone. A large wooden house painted white stood in front of them. It was almost double the size of the rest of the houses and had 2 horses in the front yard. 2 children sat playing in the back, throwing a leather ball around. Click. The front door opened and an old man stared at them, scratching his beard with a smile. "What do we have here, adventurers?" "We came here for the goblins. Can we talk?" Arad walked forward, and the man nodded. "But we have nothing to speak of. Go kill the goblins if you want, but aren't responsible for anything as we didn't put the quest up." "I know." Arad looked back at Jack. "There should be an inn here for us to stay in. A blacksmith to sharpen our weapons and maybe a herbalist." Jack approached. "Those 3 are available. Have the guards take you to them." The village chief approached Arad. "But there is something I must say." "What is it?" Arad tilted his head. "The goblins never attacked us. If you agitated them and we got attacked, you'll have big troubles at your hands." He glared behind Arad, his eyes stopping by Ella. "The goblins are only interested in the elves, and they better stay that way," he growled. "If their existence prevents the Long-Ears bastards from marching through here to invade, then let them be." Lydia glared at the village chief and stood between him and Ella. "The elves aren't seeking war. A cleric. No, a paladin." The village chief snorted. "You better be right. I only care about the safety of the village. It doesn't matter if it is short or tall goblins. They are both monsters to be slayed." Thud. Arad grabbed the village chief by the head, and the guards screamed. "Did you just call Aella a tall goblin?" Arad growled, tightening his grip, almost breaking the chief's skull. "I was talking about hobgoblins, not the elves. Let me go," the chief cried, and Arad dropped him. "Next time, I will crush your head to the ground," Arad growled. Jack approached Arad. "Come on, let's head to the inn. We better finish this quest quickly and leave." He looked back at the guards. "Bilje, no on their way to the inn." Jack whispered to Arad. "I don't feel welcome here. It's giving me the same creepy vibes of that village we were at after the Red Dragon fight." He looked around, "like we're watched all the time." "Why do you think that?" Arad asked back, whispering as he looked around for anyone watching or listening. "Goblins are dangerous. They eat cattle, kill people, and don't get me started with what they do to women. People are terrified of them and would rather kill them at sight. So it's strange the chief would rather leave them be since they aren't attacking." Arad scratched his chin. "A normal reaction would be like this. Ahem." Jack cleared his throat. "Ooh, you're killing those bastards. Thank the gods. We barely could sleep thinking they might attack at any night. Please burn every last one of them. We will support you as much as possible, and more." Ayla and Lydia looked at Jack. That would be a normal reaction. Lydia smiled. After a few steps, they reached the Green Wheel Inn, a small building with a crooked door that is rarely used by travelers walking past the village. It seems to have seen better days in the age of peace between the elves and humans. Arad walked inside, seeing only a single man inside standing behind a counter. "A customer." The man glared at the door. Arad approached him with everyone behind. He looked around and then at the man. "This place is awfully empty." "I have one resident now, Alex, our hunter, who's building his house," the owner replied. Chapter 27, A Horrid Horde of Horrors, Building His House. Arad looked at the owner and Jack approached. Newly married, I guess? No, he's been married for a while and lived alone. His house got damaged last week in a storm, so he decided to build a new one and use the chance to make it a bit bigger to accommodate the children. A storm strong enough to break a house. The other building in the village must be quite sturdy. I didn't see any one of them that is damaged. Jack looked around with a smile. His house was poorly built, the owner replied, and looked at Arad. Want to rent some rooms? Yeah, 2 rooms would do it, Arad replied with a smile, and left Jack to haggle for them with Lydia. He then took Ella and went out. Where are we going? Ayala asked, looking around and seeing Arad looking at village gate. I want to go check the surrounding of the village, Arad replied and looked at the road. Then goblins might leave traces on the ground. They walked outside the village and into the forest edge. Arad kept looking at the ground, look for footprints, while Ayla inspected the bushes for any broken branches or the like. Ayla, come take a look at this, Arad called her, staring at the ground while sweating. Arad, what is it? Ella rushed to his side and froze in place, staring at the ground. All of those? She gasped. Small and barefoot prints. Looking at the marks left, I can assume they all had long toenails, so those don't belong to human children. Arad growled.
Goblin footprints? What are they doing this close to the village?
I thought they won't attack. Ayala looked deeper into the forest, and then found larger footprints that looked to belong to an adult. They also have hobgoblins. A lot of them, Ayala looked at Arad.
Nude noble.
If it wasn't a small bunch of goblins dancing here, we can assume there are hundreds of them outside, probably even more if this was a mere scouting squad. Arad turned around. I think we should get Jack here and see what he has to say. Ella looked at Arad. We should inform the village. The goblins might be planning to attack it soon, Arad thought for a second. No, we will inform them at the last possible moment. He looked at Ella with their chief attitude. I'm sure he will ask us to leave if we told him the goblins are about to attack the city. He might even blame us for it. You're right, so we let the village die. Ella looked back at the footprints. No, we need the people to see the goblins for themselves and convince the chief to evacuate the village. Arad and Ella headed back to the inn and brought Jack and Lydia to look at the footprints. Holy cow, what in the 9 hells of the abyss? Jack gasped. A goblin nest of around 40 goblin only send 3 to 4 as scouts. If there were only 100 goblins here, we're looking at 1,000 strong nests. This isn't even a goblin stampede. It's an invasion. Lydia grabbed the hilt of her sword. If the quest was right and a goblin king was born, it's better for us to retreat and mobilize a small army to clear the forest. Lydia looked at Arad, but you won't agree, right? I can always rampage inside their nest and burn it to ash. Arad smiled. You can't do that. Ayla stared at Arad. The goblins might be keeping elvish hostages as slaves. We need to save them first. Ayla is right. We can't attack from the front door as they will use the slaves as meat shields. They knew we humans hate attacking our own. Jack added and looked at Arad. We can't dig from underground either, since we don't know how stable the goblin nest is if it houses all those numbers. Can't you sneak inside? Lydia looked at Jack. I can't even with invisibility. Those bastards have a sharp sense of smell, Jack replied, and tapped his cloak, becoming invisible and then visible again. We need another plan. I shouldn't be able to teleport into their nest if I can't see its insides. Arad looked at Jack. Can't we find a back door? We need to find the nest first. Otherwise, we can't put any strategy. Lydia looked at Jack. No, we can plan one thing. Jack looked at Arad. Poisonous gas. It can kill goblins in about a minute or 2, take about 5 minutes to affect humans, and about 10 minutes to affect adult elves. Rejected, Lydia stared at him. It's too risky, and we don't know if the elves inside are healthy enough to withstand it. I understand, Arad looked at the forest. Let's head back and think of a better way. We attack at dawn. I agree. We can't leave the hostages in there for longer. Lydia looked at Arad. I wish we could attack now without risking their lives. We can't attack without a plan. We would only send them to the grave. Arad cracked his neck. I will fly over the forest at night and scout the forest. I will come with you. Aela stepped forward. Me as well. Jack also wanted to go. It will help to have a first-hand look. It's not like I can see at night, but I will come as well. Lydia approached as well. Arad smiled. You and Jack can share those glasses. Jack nodded. As long as you can hover in one place, so we can look. Later that night, Arad flew above the forest with everyone, looking for the goblin nest. I figured out a plan, Jack said with a smile. We will find a way to sneak inside and grab the hostages running as fast as we can. He looked at Arad's head and would leave you there to burn the whole place to the ground. Arad smiled, like the last goblin nest.